please direct your attention to the middle of the field as we recognize the class of 2018 students and their guests who play a part in bringing you these Friday night football shows. Tonight is senior night, and on the field you will see the students and guests of all senior varsity football players, athletic trainers, band members, Blue Blaze members, cheerleaders, Cat Pack, and student council officers. Program sponsors are head football coach Greg Owens, athletic trainer sponsor Tammy Carroll, Wildcat band director Spencer Emmert, Blue Blaze director Christy McCullough, cheerleader sponsor Kaylee Williams, Cat Pack sponsor Caitlin Meadows, and student council advisor Alyssa Butler. Starting with the football players. Austin Dodd, he's number 1, accompanied by his parents, Mr. Landon Dodd and Ms. Corey Jackson. Damian Dugan, number 4, accompanied by his parents, Mr. Damon Dugan and Mrs. Latoya Evans Dugan. Jace Thompson, number 7, accompanied by his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jason Thompson.
We'll talk about that next week.
Focusing it. DeCorian Young, number 8, accompanied by his parents, Mr. Corey Young and Mrs. Charlisa Hawkins. DQ Pitts, number 9, accompanied by his parents, Ms. Shalina Johnson, Mr. Vic Johnson, and Mr. Cleveland Lindley. Daniel Moreno, number 10, accompanied by his father, Mr. Honorio Moreno, his brother, Mr. Israel Moreno, and sister, Mrs. Carolina Moreno. Bryce McQueen, number 13, accompanied by his parents, Mr. and Ms. Chris and Gina Penny and Dax, and Mr. Brent McQueen and Ms. Lori McQueen. Blaine Hohenberger, number 14, accompanied by his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Brock Hohenberger. Landry Tyson, number 16, accompanied by his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Derek Tyson. Connor Bergen, number 17, accompanied by his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Corey Bergen. Kason Churchman, number 18, accompanied by his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Michael Churchman. Rio Becerra, number 19, accompanied by his mom, Ms. Heather Friddle. Colton Allen, number 22, accompanied by his parents, Mr. Chris Allen and Ms. Jenny Allen. Andy Edens, number 24, accompanied by his parents, Mr. David Edens and Mrs. Tia Edens. Caleb Miles, number 29, accompanied by his parents, Ms. Lacey Merrill and Mr. Clayton Miles. Payson Edwards, number 31, accompanied by his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Keith Edwards. Marquise Hood, number 33, accompanied by his father, Mr. Marcus Hood, and his grandmother, Ms. Deborah Edwards. Mason Arnold, number 34, accompanied by his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Chris Arnold. Caleb Mills, number 41, accompanied by his mom, Ms. Ashley Mills, and Mr. Kyle Cordell. Evan Rushing, number 42, accompanied by his parents, Mr. and Mrs. James Rushing. Hunter Sontag, number 45, accompanied by his mom, Ms. Pepper Rivers. Jermon Bryant Amos, number 46, accompanied by his mom, Ms. Denise Bryant, and his brother, Mr. Isaiah Lacey. Ignacio Guerrero, number 50, accompanied by his mom, Ms. Rosa Garcia, his sister, Ms. Abigail Godina, and his brother, Mr. Alonzo Garcia. Michael Arrington, number 51, accompanied by his parents, Mr. Brian Arrington and Mr. and Mrs. Joshua Lockwood. Philip Rader, number 57, accompanied by his parents, Mr. and Mrs. James Rader. Hunter Salvarino, number 61, accompanied by his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Cody Salvarino. Ethan Rogers, number 70, accompanied by his parents, Kenny and Kim Rogers and Mrs. Deanna Parks. Jacob Janitis, number 72, accompanied by his parents, Mr. and Mrs. David McDaniel. Charlie Maddox, number 75, accompanied by his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Stephen Maddox. Hayden Daniel, number 78, accompanied by his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Todd Daniel. Jose Rodriguez, number 92, accompanied by his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jose Rodriguez. Hunter Goodson, number 96, accompanied by his grandparents, Mr. Archie Bell and Mrs. Jimmy Bell. And Carson Bridges, the video technician, accompanied by his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jack Bridges. Now our athletic trainers, Brianna Hernandez, athletic trainer, accompanied by her parents, Mr. Cesar Hernandez and Ms. Marcela Hernandez. Jacqueline Bocanegra, athletic trainer, accompanied by her parents, Mr. Frank Sandoval and Ms. Martha Bocanegra. And now the band. Braden Fisher, drum major, alto sax, and band leadership, accompanied by his parents, Ms. Carol Stormer and Mr. Billy Hill. Zoe Moree, clarinet and band leadership, accompanied by her parents, Ms. Audrey Matkin and Mr. Ty Matkin. Madison O'Kelly, tenor sax and band leadership, accompanied by her parents, Ms. Christy Matherly and Mr. Jeremy Matherly. Madeline Ray, clarinet and band leadership, accompanied by her parents, Mr. Kyle Ray and Ms. Leslie Ray. Isaac Lamb, tuba, accompanied by his parents, Mr. Michael Lamb and Ms. Nicole Lamb. Micah Rodenis, trombone and band leadership, accompanied by her parents, Mrs. Judy White and Mr. Keith White, and her brother, Christopher Rodenis. Peyton Ball, drum major, French horn and band leadership, accompanied by her parents, Ms. Sherry Ball and Mr. Eric Ball. Mason Gillum, percussion and band leadership, accompanied by his parents, Mr. Stephen Gillum and Ms. Kimberly Gillum. Kenneth Wilkes, trombone, accompanied by his parents, Mr. Damon Wilkes and Ms. Laura Wilkes. Travis Punt, trumpet and band leadership, accompanied by his parents, Mr. Howard Punt and Ms. Sandra Punt. Alice Lopez, baritone sax, accompanied by her parents, Mr. Victor Lopez and Ms. Sharon Lopez. Dakota Clark, percussion and band leadership, and Maddie Clark, senior drill team member, accompanied by their parents, Mr. Cal Clark and Ms. Val Clark. Lucia Yanez, French horn and band leadership, accompanied by her parents, Mr. Jose Yanez and Ms. Maria Yanez. Emma Hughes, clarinet and color guard, accompanied by her mom, Ms. Letitia Hughes, and her grandfather, Mr. Billy Pickett. Deja Wies, alto sax and band leadership, accompanied by her parents, Mr. Travis Wies and Mrs. Brenda Wies. Diana Herrera, clarinet, accompanied by her parents, Mr. Oscar Herrera and Mrs. Irma Herrera. Wendy Harrington, flute, accompanied by her mom, Mrs. Maria Harrington. Caitlin Farrell, flute and band leadership, accompanied by her parents, Mr. Jeremy Farrell and Ms. Christy Farrell.
Jimmy, can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Mackenzie Keckendall, bass, clarinet, accompanied by her mom, Ms. Heather Edwards. Scott Franklin Prop Crew, accompanied by his parents, Ernie and Lori Franklin. And now the Blue Blazes, Kayla Arneson, Senior Lieutenant, accompanied by her parents, Ms. Amanda Arneson and Mr. Chris Arneson. Michaela Rogers, co-captain, accompanied by her parents, Ms. Michelle Skaggs and Mr. Jeremy Skaggs. Melina Rivera, Senior Sergeant, accompanied by her mom, Mrs. Christy Shelf, and her grandfather, Mr. Bobby Baumgartner.
Guys, are we ready to go?
Taylor Jones, Senior Sergeant, accompanied by her parents, Ms. Tesha Jones and Mr. Kenneth Jones. Jacqueline Espinoza, Senior Member, accompanied by her parents, Mrs. Fran Frias and Mr. Santiago Martinez. Cassidy Winborn, Senior Member, accompanied by her mom, Jennifer Lansue. Jada Smitherman, Captain, accompanied by her parents, Ms. Joanne Runyon and Mr. Clay Smitherman. Yanexi Cervantes, Senior Member, accompanied by her parents, Mrs. Alejandra Cervantes and Mr. Mario Cervantes. Joanna Duran, Senior Member in Clarinet, accompanied by her parents, Mrs. Elena Duran and Mr. Cristobal Duran. Abby Peckham, Senior Member, accompanied by her parents, Mr. Bobby Peckham and Mr. Cameron and Kate Evans. And now the cheer squad. Skylar Shoemate, cheer captain and All-American cheerleader, accompanied by her mom, Destiny Shoemate, and her brother, Dylan Shoemate. Rayleigh Seagraves, varsity cheer, accompanied by her mother, Mrs. Brandy Seagraves. Her brother, Mr. Derek Lamb, and in honor of her late father, Paul Seagraves. Landry Bell, varsity cheer co-captain, accompanied by her parents, Mr. Matt Bell and Mrs. Mindy Bell. And now the Cat Pack, Colby Pace, accompanied by his parents, Mr. Joel Pace and Ms. Melinda Pace. Eli Sellers, Cat Pack, accompanied by his parents, Mr. John Sellers and Ms. Kim Sellers. Landon Thornton could not be here tonight. He is in Austin at the state cross-country meet with his parents, Mr. Jody Thornton and Mrs. Jill Thornton. He'll be running tomorrow in the state cross-country meet. Landon Thornton, give him a round of applause. Rhett Reed, Cat Pack, accompanied by his mom, Ms. Angela Reed, and sister Riley Reed. Cameron Zahn, Cat Pack, accompanied by his parents, Ms. Angela Zahn and Mr. David Zahn. Trayvon Ransom, Cat Pack, accompanied by his sponsors, Kaylee Williams and Caitlin Meadows. Noah Sells, Cat Pack, accompanied by his mom, Ms. Patty Sells. And now the student council members. Brianna Wooten, student body reporter and historian, accompanied by her parents, Mr. Aaron Givens and Mrs. Jessie Givens. Chloe Kennedy, student body secretary, accompanied by her parents, Mr. Jonathan Kennedy and Mrs. April Kennedy. J.C. Glenn, student body vice president, accompanied by her parents, Mr. John Glenn and Mrs. Joy Glenn. Alexis Lopez, student body president, varsity cheer and All-American cheerleader, accompanied by her grandparents, Mr. Van Jennings and Ms. Juana Jennings. That's your senior participants for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Give them a round of applause once again.
Let's now join our broadcast team at Joe Prim Stadium for tonight's football game. Guys?
Thank you, James, and good evening, everyone. We apologize for the late start, but there were some 80 seniors introduced here this evening, members of the football team, about 33 seniors there, and then the cheerleaders and band members and student council and Cat Pack. It was quite a group of seniors being honored along with parents here this evening at Prim Stadium. We are ready for this game to get underway as they begin with school songs and some of the activities that are pregame. And Don Julian has our starting lineup. Don Julian will be doing your play-by-play tonight. Doug Hastings videoing this game for replay on Channel 18, Suddenlink Cable, also our YouTube channel. I'm Jim Rogers. We're glad you're with us. It's 55 degrees here at Prim Stadium. And Don, let's look at those starting lineups.
All right, we'll start with the Kaufman Lions on offense. Their quarterback is Trey Collier. Running back, one of the twins, Jay Gasper, and he has not played in the last three district ball games, but he may be back tonight. We'll just have to wait and see. He is listed in the starting lineup that we were provided with. The runner that's been running in his place, Kevon Butler, is another running back, and he's played the last three ball games at running back. They have two tight ends they may be using, Colton Reeder and also Charleston Miller. Their H-back is LaDamian Bailey, and wide receiver is Cecil Gasper, the other twin, and he is the real deal for Kaufman. Across the line, left tackle is Justin Hicks. The left guard is Nathan Johnson. Center is Gage Dunlap. Right guard, Gonzalo Sanchez. And the right tackle is Landon Taylor, kind of the leader of the pack, we're told, on that offensive line. The Wildcats on defense, their defensive tackles are Jose Rodriguez and Evan Rushing. And the nose guard is Ignacio Nacho Guerrero. Inside linebackers, Bryce McQueen, Daniel Marino. Outside linebackers, D.Q. Pitts and Kylan Wade. The cornerbacks, Damian Dugan and Andy Edens, and the safeties are Landry Tyson and Austin Dodd, Wildcats' own defense. And now checking the defense as the Wildcats and Kaufman both come onto the field here. The defense for the Kaufman Lions are defensive ends, Jalen Fields, Montana Booker, and their nose guard is Angel Juarez. There are 4 linebackers. The inside guys are Colton Reeder and Billy Pullen, and the outside linebackers, LaDamian Bailey and also Kevon Butler. On the corners, Darius McGee and Cecil Gasper, and the safeties are Michael Glick and Rake Shaw. And I'm sure that's shortened, but I didn't check out the real name that's on the roster. Sometimes Matt Young does that, gives these guys nicknames. Wildcats on offense across the line, left tackle Philip Rader, left guard Giovanni Pisano, the center Ethan Rogers, right guard is Alfredo Olivero, let me pronounce it right, Alfredo Oliveda. At right guard, the right tackle is Charlie Maddox. Quarterback DeCorian Young, hope he can go tonight. He was dinged up a little bit against Greenville. Running back Caden Davis to start, we think. Austin Dodd and Chase Haney in the slots, and the wide receivers are Landry Tyson and also Connor Bergen, who's filling in for Jace Thompson, who has a broken foot. He was on crutches tonight. Jacob Janitis also in street clothes and not expected to play here tonight. And that got everybody here. The only other thing I need to mention is our officials, Commerce Chapter, Texas Association of Sports Officials. Referee Tony Flippin, umpire is Efren Rodriguez, line judge Jerry Menard, linesman is James Livingston, and the back judge is Jared Hood. And that is everything I've got, Jimmy.
And it's time for the national anthem, the Silver Springs High School Choir singing. This evening as the captains get ready to go out to the middle of the field. We will have those captains for you in just a moment when they line up to make their steps forward. We have captains for the Wildcats this evening is number 18, Kason Churchman, number 34, that is Mason Arnold. Number 96 for the Wildcats, Hunter Goodson, and number 41 for the Wildcats, Caleb Mills.
I've got the Kaufman Lions. They've got Trey Collier, their quarterback, and Michael Glick, who is running back and linebacker out there for Kaufman.
Number 2, Trey Collier. Number 5, Michael Glick.
And it is a great night for football here at Primm Stadium. The temperature is just right. There's a little bit of wind blowing, but doesn't look like it's going to be a very, well, it may have a little bit of effect. It's blowing west to east, and that may make a little difference in what we look at this evening. We'll see if the referee says that the Wildcats won the toss and declined. So Kaufman will decide what they are going to do. The Wildcats will be defending the south goal. Kaufman the North Gold, and the Wildcats will be, well, we'll see in a second. They did defer as he's motioning, and Kaufman will be receiving the ball. So that's our steps for the evening as we get ready for this game to get underway.
Just the way Coach Owens likes it, playing defense on the first series against Kaufman and then getting that ball the first thing in the third quarter.
And he does like that completely. We've got other games in the district tonight. Greenville playing Forney, Corsicana at Ennis, and North Forney at Royce City. So we'll try to keep up with some of those scores for you as well. Wildcats and Kaufman playing for basically the number 2 slot here in district. Wildcats with a win will pretty well secure that that position.
And Terrell has a night off.
Yes. That will give the Wildcats an opportunity to have some good placement in the playoffs when they get started.
Yeah, going to be either 2 or 3, and of course a lot of that depends on what happens right here on this field tonight.
And the Wildcats come out getting ready to place the ball for the kick. This is the J. Hodge Chevrolet on Wildcat Way kickoff. We encourage you to go by J. Hodge and take a look at the array of trucks and cars that they have there made by Chevrolet. Don Julian doing your play-by-play. Doug Haston videoing for replay on Channel 18. I'm Jim Rogers. We're glad you're with us. Here we go.
And Brandon Zavala has the ball teed up. Ooh, I just got the call in time to make the kickoff. Here's a return by Kaufman across the 30 and knocked down across the 35-yard line. Run back there by Rakivian Shaw. No wonder Matt Young called him Rake. Rakivian Shaw on the return. He's one of the secondary guys, and Kaufman will start first down and 10 from the 36-yard line in their own end of the field. It looked like that play was going to go for some more, but Wildcat made a real good tackle out there, and here comes a pretty good size Kaufman line. They average 274. That's one of the bigger lines that we've seen this year. And back in the shotgun, their quarterback, and that would be Trey Collier. And Collier will run on the first play around the sideline across the 40, 45, and then out of bounds with a first down at the 47-yard line. So Collier just takes off on the first play and picks up more than 10 yards, actually 11, first down and 10 for the Lions.
Well, Kaufman has been explosive on offense. Let's see what they continue to do.
Collier, a commit to Tulsa as a receiver, so that shows you his athletic ability, and D1 player, but maybe not at quarterback, but he's a pretty good passer too. And he will have a running play here and straight up the middle, slow going for the Kaufman running back, maybe about a yard or two. That was LaDamian Bailey. He's listed officially as an H-back. I don't see number 3 in there for, well, there might be.
No.
Let's keep watching. We'll continue to see if Jay Gasper has found his way back into the starting lineup. It does not look like it, so he may miss another game. He was injured. I'm not sure how severely or what the injury was, but he has not played in 3 district games, and they also had a bye week in there that he was able to take advantage of. Here's second down and 9, a running play. No, a fake, and the quarterback keeps around the corner. Nice secure tackle there by Austin Dodd as the quarterback ran across the 50 and then knocked down at the 49-yard line. And that will be, looks like about 6 yards short of the first down for the Kaufman Lions. They're moved into Wildcats territory at the 49-yard line. Here's third down and 6. This is the first big third down play of the ball game. And once again, Collier back in the shotgun. 2 receivers out to the left, single receiver to the right. Now man in motion, and the flanker will take the ball around the left side, and he will run for the first down for Kaufman down around the 40-yard line. That handoff went to the big tight end, Charleston Miller, and Miller rumbled all the way down to the 41-yard line. First down and 10, Kaufman converting on that third down and 6 play.
And Kaufman continues to move the ball. The Wildcats defense.
Yeah, so far, Kaufman looking good on offense, clicking off some first downs. down to the Wildcat 41-yard line. Back to the quarterback, fakes, and now he keeps in there. Oh, he ran in there, got tackled real hard, right close to the line of scrimmage. May have gained about a half yard or so. And looked like Evan Rushing jumped into the tackle there. Part of that kind of reached as the quarterback was coming around and made a good play there. Very little gain on the play. We'll call no gain on the play. 2nd down and 10 from the 41-yard line. And once again, Collier, the quarterback, on the 2nd and 10. 2 receivers out to the right side. We'll take the snap. A running play right up the middle, and it is not going to go anywhere. The Wildcats put up the stone wall. A gain of about 1 on the play up to around the 40, and it'll be 3rd down and 9. And another big 3rd down play for the Wildcats defense and this Kaufman offense. Their opening drive. We're 0-0, 9:06 left to play here in the first quarter. Kaufman took the opening kickoff, and they've been moving smartly down the field. But this will be a big play here on 3rd down and 9 from the 40-yard line. Trip receivers out to the right side. Running back right next to the quarterback. He takes and rolling to the right side, cutting upfield. 1st down, he's going to go to the end zone. A touchdown for Kaufman. A 40-yard run for Collier, the quarterback.
Well, and some great blocking for him in the way, but he's got great speed as well as he gets on the board for Kaufman. Forney and North Forney both have scored in their games. Forney leads Greenville 7-0, North Forney 7, Royce City 0.
Boy, big games for those teams trying to try to get back in the playoff race, fighting to try to get into that 4th spot. Extra point try now for Kaufman. Snap a good one. The ball is down and the kick is on the way, and the kick is good. 8:39 left here in the first quarter of play. A new score here from Gerald Prim Stadium. The Kaufman Lions 7, Wildcats of Sulphur Springs getting ready to see the football for the first time, 0. So we'll take a break and we'll be back in a moment.
8:39 left to go in our game here at Prim Stadium, in the first quarter actually. Here at Prim Stadium, it is 7 for Kaufman, 0 for the Wildcats, as the Wildcats get the ball for the first time tonight.
And getting ready to kick off for Kaufman now will be Yahel Sandoval. And the ball to 40-yard line. Boy, what kind of uniform colors do we have here for Kaufman? Here's a high kick down the field, and the ball taken after the fair catch for the Wildcats at the 34-yard line. Looked like brought in there by Chase Haney. And so 1st down and 10 for the Wildcats. Kaufman went 64 yards on their initial drive, and Trey Collier got the last 40 of it as he took that ball. Had good blocking, had all that trip receivers out in front of him, plus a running back out in front of him, but he cut it up the field at the right point and cut through a big lane for that touchdown. Now the Wildcats, Decorian Young back in the shotgun for the Wildcats, takes the snap, pitches to Austin Dodd, circling the right side. Dodd across the 35, Dodd across the 40 to the 45, and Dodd gets a 1st down as he's knocked down up near midfield. They're going to move it back to the 48-yard line. 1st down and 10 for the Wildcats.
And Don asked about the uniforms. We'll call on the paint department. It's bright white for Kaufman tonight with black helmets, and the Wildcats in blue jerseys, white pants, blue trim.
Well, goodness gracious, black and white. There's Decorian Young takes a snap. Here's a handoff, a running back. That's Caden David. No, excuse me, that's Chalk Sims. And Sims up to the 46-yard line. A gain of 6 yards on the play. 2nd down and 4 for the Wildcats at the 46 in Kaufman territory. And now Decorian Young has a empty backfield, and they just took Chalk Sims out of there. Trip receivers to the left, 2 receivers to the right for Decorian. And waiting for the snap. This is a long count. There's a fake count, and now takes the snap. He'll fire a pass. It's caught. Austin Dodd across the 45, gets a block across the 40, and then knocked off his feet at the 37-yard line. Another 1st down for the Wildcats.
And Silver Springs Dodge Chrysler Jeep, 1st down. And Dodd has picked these up with some great running.
Landry Tyson was the block I talked about. He kind of, as much as anything, kind of got in the way down there of the Kaufman guys, and they had to run around him. But anyway, he didn't block in the back or anything, so did an efficient job of helping that play. First down and 10 for the Wildcats, the 37-yard line, Kaufman territory. Corian Young takes the snap. He fires the ball down the field, incomplete, went through the receiver's hands. That was intended again for Austin Dodd, and Kaufman getting a steady diet of Austin. In fact, he now comes to the sideline for a breather on second down and 10. And now have a change in running back too, as Colton Allen comes in to replace, looks like Miles was in there. Little senior action there. Caleb Miles was in there at the running back, one of the 33 seniors. Corian Young, another one, will take the snap. And here's a running play to Colton Allen. Allen breaks it off to the left. He gets to the 35-yard line, a gain of 2. It's going to be third down and 8. Now the Wildcats facing their first serious third down play. Third down and 8 from the 35 in Kaufman territory. And Young checking that play, then checking the wristband. 2 receivers left and right. He's got Colton Allen to his left back there. Big play for the Wildcats as they try to match this high-scoring Kaufman offense. Actually, the Wildcats have scored a few more points than Kaufman this year. Here's a pass, and it is caught. Landry Tyson right up the field by Landry. He'll be close for the first down. He was knocked out of bounds around the 27-yard line, and that's the point needed. Officials taking a look and see what they think. They're still that first down. Tony Flippin says move those chains, gentlemen.
Silver Springs Dodge Chrysler Jeep, first down.
Good to see Tony out there. He had thought about retiring. I think they talked him into it. Talked him into coming back, and we're glad to see Tony out there. First down and 10 from the 27-yard line. Corian Young from the shotgun. The Wildcats continue the drive after that nice run. The ball on the ground is picked up Colton Allen, but that play lost and kind of was out of sync after the ball was dropped down on the ground. Colton very alertly picked it up, and he was able to make lemons to the point of getting back to the 29, which means it was only a 2-yard loss on the play. Be second down and 12 for the Wildcats at the 29-yard line. Sometimes that can work big if they're not looking for a player to come scooping in there with the ball. But Corian Young back in the shotgun. They will not snap it quickly. But now they're going to take a little bit more time. Trip receivers out to the right, single receiver to the left. Back to Corian Young. He's looking. He's continuing to look. And now, he started to scramble and scrambled right into a tackler there as he ran into Chris Davidson. And Davidson made the sack. And he is limping vigorously. It's the first time he's hit. And he was dinged up against Greenville, and we were really worried about his health. And they may have to see if they can retape him. He came over and slammed his helmet down. And looks like we'll get Noe Ponce now in there for the Wildcats. Saw Noe doing a lot with our quarterback whisperer, our quarterback coach. And Ponce back there takes a snap. Running play right up the middle to Colton Allen across the 30. And Colton down around the 25-yard line on third and long. It's going to be short of the first down. See what the Wildcats choose to do from the 26. They need 9 yards for a first down. It's 4th and 9. And they are going to go for it. They bring in Chalk Sims with Noe Ponce. DeCorian on the bench. Tammy Carroll scrambling around over there trying to now DeCorian trying to walk that off over there. As he got some kind of ankle problem or something like that, would appear. I'm not exactly sure exactly what it is. Here's a big 4th down play for the Wildcat. Ponce back to pass, big rush, floats the ball down the field, incomplete. And tried to get it to Chalk Sims, but it was almost more in the direction of the big offensive tackle, Hayden Daniel there, that was
Chalk was
down the field.
Yeah, Chalk was right behind him. Daniel just didn't know that pass was coming in as it was. He would have gotten out of the way, but good blocking for that offensive line. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, they let them go through there and try to set up the screen, but they just couldn't execute that screen properly, and it's over on downs for the Wildcats, and Kaufman now takes over at their own 26-yard line. And snap back to Collier, and they'll try a running play in there, and the back hits up in there, and he'll gain just a yard or two. And look like that old NFL situation of crawling there, which is actually a penalty in the NFL if you try to do that. 2-yard gain on the play for Kaufman for that running back. And they're shuttling players in and out. I imagine that was Kevon Butler would be I think that was him on the running play. 2nd down and 8 now for Kaufman at the 28-yard line. Collier again from the shotgun. He'll run to the left, and he streaks through a hole, and he's going to move it up the field close to the first down. I think he'll be at least a yard short of the first down, maybe 2. It'll be 1 yard short of the first down. It'll be 3rd down and 1. The ball at the Kaufman 35-yard line, and once again, Collier is really making some hay out there. If they did nothing else but look at what Corsicana did with that Hoffman, try to recreate some of that stuff, and Collier's a great athlete. Here's a big 3rd down and 1 now for the Wildcats defense. Player relocates, and they'll try a running play, hitting up in there, getting the first down on a run. The ball stolen away, just ripped away by the Wildcats, and ripped away by a defender there, I think.
Number 9.
DQ Pitts. Boy, DQ, hands of a burglar there as he just reached in and ripped that ball loose. He's taking notes, I guess, from Austin Dodd. After Dodd did that a couple of weeks ago, that player fighting for yards, and DQ says, "Here, I'll take that." What a play by DQ Pitts. It's credited as a fumble recovery, even though that's a pure theft. Call the DA, but there are no witnesses from the Wildcats. And here's a handoff. Chalk Sims trying to find a hole, and Chalk will move across the 25 to the 24-yard line, gain of 2 on the play. And once again, Noe Ponce is the quarterback for the Wildcats. And I will still remember in the scrimmage against LE, Noe Ponce led the offensive unit down the field for a touchdown against LE. So let's see if he can get him in the end zone after that great play by DQ Pitts. Ponce back in the shotgun, takes the snap, fake, and here's a flanker around to Austin Dodd, and he had to get around one player on that defensive end, could not do it, and he was wrapped up for a loss of 1 as that defender stayed at home and made a real nice play around that corner. So 3rd down and 11 now for the Wildcats, as Matt Young with a little bit of fakery there, trying a reverse. And that defender just stayed right there, and Dodd, make that play work, had to get around that defender and just could not defeat him. So 3rd down and 11 now, the ball at the 27-yard line. Noe Ponce directing traffic out there.
And a minute 15 seconds left here in the first quarter.
And Kaufman up 7-0. And Ponce, they've got 5 seconds. They've got to get this thing snapped, and there it is. And Ponce looking, he'll fire it out. It is caught by Jermon Bryant Amos, and he falls across the 20-yard line. When a guy that's 6'5" or 6", when he falls, he usually gains a little bit of yardage too. So 1st down and 10 for the Wildcats right at the 20. After, wait a minute, that was not a 1st down. This is 4th and 4. And now we're going to try a field goal. The Wildcats trying to get on the board with a field goal. I apologize for miscalling that pass. I had it in my mind there was a pretty good gain, but not enough. And now here's Zavala with a 37-yard field goal try here. And the snap is down. A new holder, too, on the way, and it's kind of knuckleballs toward the goalpost, and it's not good. And that's tough. Jace Thompson has been the holder all year for the Wildcats, and he broke his foot against Greenville last week. They did not think he was injured that badly, but when they x-rayed it and everything, they found out he had a broken foot. So he's going to be on the shelf for a while, and optimistically hopes he can get back for the playoffs. And maybe hoping the Wildcats will once again play into December, maybe, or maybe November, late November. I don't know how long the prognosis is for a broken foot to come back from that. Here's snap to Collier, and he'll hand off. This is once again Miller sweeping to the right side. for Kaufman. A short gain on the play. And actually, he gained 4 on the play to the 24. It'll be 2nd down and 6 for the Lions. And boy, do we have the Lions in this district, as that's the end of the first quarter that went pretty quickly here in the first quarter. And our score after 1, Kaufman 7, the Wildcats 0. And we'll take a break here. We'll be back with the start of the second quarter right after this break.
Second quarter of play. Kaufman leads 7-0. And Kaufman has the ball after that missed field goal.
Yeah, they've not punted yet, but DQ Pitts reached in and stole the football from them. DQ playing defense, and Kaufman then scored on their other drive. The Wildcats over on downs and then the missed field goal. Collier's back in the shotgun now, has 2 receivers out to the left, a running back next to him. And he will fake and keep and jumps right over the middle of the pile, goes up to the 26-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and 4 for Kaufman. And they have really had the answer on 3rd down. At least they did on that first drive. And let's see what they do on 3rd down and 4 as the Wildcats defense digging in there. And I'll tell you one thing about Alex Guerrero. That guy can make some adjustments. He sees what's going on, and he will change some things. And he's been very effective with that this year. Hats off to him. Back in the shotgun for Collier. He fakes and keeps again, running it, and he did not make the 30-yard line. Wildcats cut him down about the 28, and Kaufman will be called on to punt. Nice defensive stand. Yeah, clap those hands down there. As player that was doing the clapping coming off the field now, I think is Nacho Guerrero. So punt time for Kaufman, and Dodd is back inside the Wildcats 40-yard line. As Kaufman, boy, whatever wind we had, the flags are really still right now. Here's a kick on the way, boomed out of there pretty well, and Dodd will run it from the 32, breaks the tackle across the 35, across the 40, across the 45, and Dodd with a nice return, considering that those Kaufman Lions were breathing all over him when he made that catch, and somehow managed to counterpunch for about 10 yards. 1st down and 10 for the Wildcats at about the 48-yard line. I was talking about all the Lions. We got the Ennis Lions, the Greenville Lions, and the Kaufman Lions. We've never had a district I can remember with all the Lions. But we've got it this year. And now Noe Ponce back in the shotgun for the Wildcats. And handoff to Colton Allen, sweeping to the left. Allen across the 50 to the 45. Allen runs for the 1st down and goes across the 40-yard line. If there's one thing that gives you hope is the way that Royce City beat Kaufman last week with the running game. Bryce Martinez, their running back, had a super game last week running the ball against Kaufman.
Silver Springs Dodge Chrysler Jeep 1st down with 10:31 left to go in the half.
It's 1st down and 10 for the Wildcats. Are down on the Kaufman 39-yard line. And Noe Ponce has the play now and comes up and communicates with that offensive line. He's back in the shotgun. Has trip receivers out to the right and 1 receiver to the left. Ponce takes the snap, and he will fake and then throw incomplete. Tried to get it out to Landry Tyson. Nice fake. I went for that. Thought that Colton Allen had the ball. I think he really put it in the gut there and then kind of took it away, and then threw incomplete, though, toward Landry Tyson. So 2nd down and 10 to go from the 39-yard line for the Wildcats. And this same formation here, trips out to the right, single receiver to the left with a running back behind Noe Ponce. The ball's on the ground, picked up again by the running back, Colton Allen. And once again, Allen trying to make lemonade out of the lemons there, and got back to the original line of scrimmage. 3rd down and 10 for the Wildcats at the 39-yard line. Boy, the snaps are really iffy in the early going here. I think we've got a center that's really getting into the football game here, but he's going to have to settle down a little bit on those snaps. And Noe Ponce from the shotgun now on this 3rd down and 10 play from the 39-yard line. Big play for the Wildcats. Goes by Ponce, and he has to chase it back. He's being rushed. He's going to be sacked. A huge loss for the Wildcats. as that wasn't even close as it came back there to Ponce on the ground, and he just turned and started racing after it. Dropped all the way back at the 38-yard line. That's about a 23-yard loss.
I think we've got a call out here or something. Let's see.
All right.
Oh, no, they're just trying to get the referee set. Sorry.
All right. So it's fourth down. And I don't know where the chain gang's going. The chain gang is all screwed up here. Here's a ball back to Jermon Bryant Amos. It's a bad snap, and he's going to be snowed under back at the 26-yard line. All of a sudden, the Wildcats can't snap the football, and it's killing them. As Kaufman will take over at the Wildcats' 26-yard line after a bad snap put them in a huge hole, and then a bad snap to the punter, and Jermon Bryant Amos tried to run out of there, and Kaufman treated him like he had a pork chop around his neck. And they were hungry. So first down and 10 now for the Kaufman Lions after a couple of snap issues. And here comes a really sizable looking Lions Lion. How about that? They work on that if you want to work on your pronunciation. And Collier will take the snap. He hands off running back, running to the right. I think that's LaDamian Bailey, and he's going to lose a yard for Kaufman. No, that was Shaw. Rakavian Shaw on the run. That will lose 1 yard. So Shaw on the carry. One thing I was impressed with Kaufman, they've got some good-looking football players, big, tall guys, and these linemen are all big.
8:30 to go here in our half. 7 for Kaufman, 0 for the Cats.
And Kaufman knocking on the door now is second down and about 11 now from the 27-yard line. Once again, Collier will take the snap, rolling to the left. He's trying to get around the corner. Nice play. Looked like Austin Dodd came sliding up from the safety position. Defense pretty well had that play kind of all jammed up anyway, but a very nice play too by Kylan Wade coming up. But Dodd just right in there to blow that play up. He went right to the ball carrier and said, none of this juking and jiving. We're going to put you down on the ground here. Third down and 13 now for the Kaufman Lions. Are back at the Wildcats' 29-yard line now on a big 3rd and 13. Wildcats defense doing a good job holding these Kaufman Lions after that initial drive. That looks like a new quarterback in there. It is, and he's back to pass. And he fires the ball down the field, almost intercepted. Went right through Wildcats' hands down there. That was Dietrich Clayton. And that new quarterback for the Lions is Billy Pullen. He's their big 250-pound middle linebacker. I know he scored a touchdown this year, and I figured he must be a part of the jumbo package or something down on the goal line. That time Pullen decides to throw the ball.
They fired
a 250-pound quarterback.
Fired it like a center fielder.
I'll tell you what, that guy can play defense. His coach is bullish on him. They said that defensive line ties them up, and then Billy goes and gets them. Fourth down and 13 now for the Lions, and Pullen back in the shotgun, takes the snap. He's back to pass. He's looking. Lexington will take off. Now he fires the ball down the field. It's caught down around inside and down to it fumbled into the end zone. That's a loose ball. The Wildcats are all over it and picked up by the Wildcats for a touchback.
Well, let's see. We've got a flag down.
A touchback signal by the official back there, but
we have a flag down at the
looks like it might be something like how can you rough a 250-pound quarterback? That may be, they may say that he got hit a little bit late.
It was a little late.
But how do you rough a 250-pound? He treats you like a gnat on an elephant's back.
It's holding, actually.
Holding against Kaufman, and that will certainly be declined. And the Wildcats, Butch, did you see who got that recovery? I saw Austin Dodd down there. We'll try to get the answer to that question. Jimmy,
What's that?
We're trying to find out who recovered the ball in the end zone. I can't hear him with these headphones on.
Colin Wade.
Colin Wade, okay. That's his at least third fumble recovery this season. And that was a big one. And Dodd has 2, and he was right there with it. I thought he might have had it. First down and 10 for the Wildcats now. A running play from the 20-yard line up just a yard or two as the Wildcats moving out of there after, boy, a huge defensive play for them. DeCorian Young is back in there now. So DeCorian back in there. I don't know if they retaped him or whatever. A gain of 1 on the play for the Wildcats. Second down and 9 from the 21-yard line. Well, a beautiful play by Kaufman, and then they cough it up right at the lip of the cup. DeCorian takes a snap. He's looking. He's under some pressure. Fires the ball. Complete. Oh, no, it's dropped. Oh, my. A drop for the Wildcats. And that's was in there to Payson Edwards. Payson has latched on before this season, but he had a hard time grabbing onto that one. So third down and 9 for the Wildcats at the 21-yard line.
6:29 to go here in the half.
And DeCorian looking over to the sideline. And DeCorian from the shotgun. Trip receivers out to the left, single receiver to the right here on third down and 9 from the 21. And DeCorian, this is another long count. We're inside 10 seconds. Now he snaps to motion. He got 3 seconds to get it off here. Going to have to hurry. Just snapped at the 0. Fired down the field. Incomplete. Wildcats can. Now that was a high one. That was hard to latch on to. Any receiver coach will tell you, though, you touch it, you need to catch it. I think that was intended for Chase Haney. Incomplete. He had to go up and get it. It was a high throw. And so punt time for the Wildcats, 3 and out on this offensive possession. All of a sudden, this game between two pretty good high-powered offenses has turned into a defensive struggle. Jermon Bryant Amos takes it. Oh, it goes through his legs. It's back in the end zone. He picks it up. He's in big trouble. Can he kick it out of there? He's going to try. He got it away. He got rammed into, but they can do that. And then the Wildcats touched it. Looked like DQ Pitts or something at about the 22 to make sure that some Kaufman player didn't rush in there and carry it all the way back. What a game play there by Jermon Bryant Amos. That'll officially be a punt for nothing, or maybe 1 yard on the kick. But just to get that out of his own end zone, I was already racking up 2 points for Kaufman on a safety. But somehow he fought that tackler off and got into that rugby position. And he was blasted but you're a runner then, and they can unload on you. And he was able to get it out to at least to the 22-yard line. So once again, juicy position for Kaufman, as snap issues continue for the Wildcats. Here's a quarterback handing off, a running back hitting in there. Boy, this guy's just bullying ahead down to the 14-yard line. Nice, strong run there by Kaufman. That was, looked like Michael Glick.
It was.
Glick is a running back and also a linebacker. I think he was listed as a starter for Kaufman on defense only. But they're kind of shuttling them in and out with Jay Gasper not being able to play tonight. And this is a 4th district ball game that he's missed, so he must have a serious injury. Collier again from the shotgun. And takes the snap and rolling to the right, going through a big hole and then racing down all the way to the 1-yard line for Kaufman, or let's call it, well, between the 1 and the 2 down there. And first down and goal for the Lions we'll call it the 1-yard line.
5:20 to go here in the half. Kaufman leads 13-0.
Boy, I tell you just cannot continue to hand the ball to an offense like Kaufman inside your own 30-yard line, and to do it twice.
Yeah.
Wow. The Wildcats dodged the bullet on one of them as they had a fumble into the end zone.
And we have time call.
And now Kaufman wants to talk things over. 4:57 left here in the second quarter. And they've got Kaufman 13 points. That's surely not right, is it? It's still 7-0. 7-0.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
At 4:57 left. I'm sorry, that just threw me for a loop. Let's take a timeout here, and we'll be back in a moment.
And 4:57 left to go here in the first half of play, and our score is 7 for Kaufman, 0 for the Wildcats, but Kaufman is about to make it 13, it looks like.
Yeah, they could have saved changing that scoreboard. Now Kaufman breaks real quickly here, and they're going to try some power, and the Wildcats really jammed that up. That play went nowhere. Boy, good job by the Wildcats not to let these big Kaufman linemen just bowl over them. Just hung right in there and matched them with physicality. So no score on the play on that quick snap play. No gain on it. Second down and goal to go from the 1-yard line. Nice play by the Wildcats. This time Kaufman will come out in a little more refined method. And quarterback back in the shotgun. Looks like they got that big Pullen again, and he's going to roll to the right, and Pullen will rumble right into the end zone. Touchdown for Kaufman on the 1-yard run. Hard to stop a player that big, and we haven't seen a quarterback that size since that Bumper Pool guy from Lovejoy last year in by-district playoffs scored a couple of touchdowns on us. So touchdown for Kaufman, extra point now pending. And waiting for the snap. It's down. Here's a kick on the way, and it's going to be right through the uprights. 4:13 left here in the second quarter. And new score here from Gerald Prim Stadium. Kaufman 14 and the Wildcats 0. Let's take a break here, and we'll be back in a moment.
4:13 to go here in the first half of play. Don't forget the sounds of the Wildcat Band coming up at halftime. Butch Burney will have the statistics of the first half of play. It won't be pretty. It's 14 for Kaufman, 0 for the Wildcats.
And Wildcats have a couple of guys back deep here awaiting this kickoff for Kaufman. Again, their kicker is Sandoval, and he kicks it short this time, and it's going to bounce, and it's picked up at the 16-yard line. Might should have let that go out of bounds if it would. Now flag flies at the end of that. Tackle made down around the 16-yard line. I tell you what, if the Wildcats had a duck tonight, it would drown. They have had tough. What is the old line? If didn't have bad luck, wouldn't have any luck at all.
All right, let's see if we get a call here.
Well, they had to separate the players. There was some yakking going on, I believe.
Yeah.
So let's see what we've got on the penalty department here down at the 15-yard line.
That's
already miserable position. That's getting more miserable.
Block in the back, number 17, blue. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
And that'll take it all the way down to the 7-yard line. So we just thought the 15 was horrible field position.
And that ball,
now we know better.
That ball did hit and bounce in. That's why the Wildcat went after it.
So Jimmy says he does not believe that a football, which can bounce crazily in any direction, would have gone out of bounds, but he may well have a point. Here's a handoff, running back. This is Colton Allen breaking tackles across the 10. Nice run, Allen, across the 20. Oh, he bumps into a big fella there from Kaufman and knocked out of bounds at the 24-yard line. Nice aggressive run by a good senior there. Colton Allen, first down and 10 for the Wildcats at the 24-yard line. Back to DeCorian Young. He'll try Allen again. He sloughs off a tackle across the 30, down the sideline, up past the 40-yard line, and finally knocked down at the 43-yard line. Two senior runs there by Colton Allen, and he looks like an inspired football player to me as the Wildcats trail 14-0. Still 3:46 and counting here in the second quarter. The snap, but a whistle blows. And Kaufman had taken a timeout right before the snap. So Kaufman with a defensive timeout after Colton Allen ripped a couple of good runs to the right side. 3:44 left here in the second quarter. Wildcats 0 and Kaufman 14. We'll take a break and we'll be back in a moment. And DeCorian Young from the shotgun, first down and 10 across the 40-yard line. Fake and a pass intercepted. Oh, a defender jumped the route, came right into where the ball was, And an interception for the Kaufman Lions by John Maldonado.
Great read on that play. We've got 2 Wildcats down injured.
Oh, my. I'll tell you, Jimmy, we're 2 days too late. This is Halloween. We're black cats and spooks and goblins and ghosts and
let's take a timeout. We'll be back right after this. Well, our 2 players coming off the field now, being assisted, both of them. There's 3:39 left to go in the first half of play. 14 for Kaufman, 0 for the Wildcats. Ethan Rogers, the big center, the last one coming off the field. The one before him, Philip Rader.
Yeah, the left tackle.
Right.
Coach Offit just had to be having the big one down there not lose, but a couple of big offensive linemen injured on the same play. Running play for Kaufman, hitting up in there, trying to move forward. The Wildcats stack it up after a gain of about 2. Good, tough defense for the Wildcats. The handoff went to LaDamian Bailey. He's the H-back normally.
Second down, 8.
Believing he's kind of running from the running back position right now. Haven't seen a lot of the other twin either. I'm not sure that he's in there. Seen a 13 sighting. Maybe he just hasn't done a whole lot so far, unless he made that catch down there on the fumble. Here's quarterback Collier on the run, and he's getting around the left side, running and using his blocking efficiently to pick up a first down to the 21-yard line in Wildcats territory. And boy, he has been a difference in this game. A nice running there by Collier. Again, a commit to Tulsa as a receiver. See how well he can throw and run. Well, I'm sure they know what they're doing. First down and 10 from the 21-yard line for the Kaufman Lions. And Collier will hand off, running back streaking right in through the middle. Another nice hard run down to around the 16-yard line for the Kaufman Lions.
Once again, hand off to Bailey.
Bailey again on the running play down to the 16, and they're 4 yards short of the first down. So here's second down and 4 from the 16. And Collier takes the snap and hand off again, hitting it up in there. And down close to the first down. Again, the run by LaDamian Bailey, who's been a big part of the offense here.
Kaufman doing a good job using this clock. 2 minutes left to go here in the half. 14-0 they lead.
Third down and 1 now. The ball down around the 12-yard line. And so Kaufman third and short here. They're already up 14-0, and they're threatening to add a third touchdown here. Here's a snap back to Collier, hitting right up in there, a tough run. Looks like he has enough for the first down, all the way down to the 11. Be first and 10 for the Kaufman Lions. They'll move the chains. The clock at 1:38. It will stop temporarily while they move the chains.
That is the Lions' first down. First and goal.
It's the chain. They didn't have to move the chains because it's they say a first and goal. Looks like it's right on the 10-yard line, but first and goal to go from the 10 for the Lions. And back to Collier, rolling to the right, cutting it up in there, and now breaking it back to the left and breaking tackles, and he'll be tackled at the 7-yard line. Dodd in there on the tackle along with DQ Pitts. And that's second and goal now for the Kaufman Lions at the 7, and the clock is at 1:05 and rolling down in there. Again, the Wildcats shuttling players in and out, trying to keep them as fresh as possible. And Kaufman has 54 seconds to try to complete this drive, but they're second down and goal from the 7. And Collier back in the shotgun. Will take the snap and fake and hand off a flanker around, and he's tackled back behind the line of scrimmage. Beautiful play by Kylan Wade as he tackled a flanker coming around, and actually that's that big tight end, Charleston Miller, who's a real good target. Collier lacks him as a target, and now another timeout taken by Kaufman on 3rd and 11 with just 38 seconds left here in the second quarter. Kaufman leads 14-0. We'll take a break, back in a moment. And the shotgun now on 3rd down and goal from the 11, and the quarterback Collier rolling to the right, and he looks and he pulls it down, and he's knocked out of bounds at about the 2-yard line, looks like, as he finally decided to kind of cut loose and run, and he was knocked out of bounds at the 2 or 3 yard line down in there.
4th and goal for 3.
They're going to call it the 3, so this is like an extra point, 4th down, and it's also like an extra point in the field goal department. And Kaufman rushes their kicker in there, and this will be a 20-yard field goal coming up for the Lions. And I believe Sandoval will be the kicker for the Lions. Well, if the Wildcats could dodge the bullet here. There's a snap. It's back on the extra point. The kick on the way, and the kick is good. The old automatic there. So a short field goal, a 20-yard field goal for Kaufman. And with 25 seconds remaining in the second quarter, it's now Kaufman 17 and the Wildcats 0. And we'll take a break, and we'll be back in a moment.
25 seconds left to go in the first half. 17 for Kaufman, 0 for the Wildcats. And just know that coming up at halftime, the sounds the Wildcat marching band, and Butch Burney will be with us to talk about the statistics of the first half of play. 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, Coach's Show, simulcast on KSST and Channel 18.
And Kaufman kicking off. The Wildcats have 25 seconds, and boy, they could sorely use some good news here of just about anything. And here's the Kaufman kickoff, and it's drilled along the ground and picked up at the 18, across the 20 to the 25. This is Damian Dugan. Dugan across the 30 to the 35. A flag flies. And so usually when you see that on a return, that's bad news for the return team. Now, there could be a face mask or something like that, but we shall see. Came up to the 35. But the Wildcats have just been, again, they have no luck but bad luck tonight.
During the run back, blocking the back, number 47, 10-yard penalty, first down.
And they'll mark that back around the 25-yard line. And so, boy, this is one of those you just run for, or you maybe just take a knee and run for the locker room and say, boy, our luck maybe will change in the second half. Ball at the 25-yard line now, first down and 10 for the Wildcats. They trail 17-0, and they've just had it all go wrong tonight. Back to DeCorian Young, and he's going to hand off. Here's Caden Davis. He'll move across the 30 to the 32-yard line. There were 11 seconds left, and timeout taken for the Wildcats. So 11 seconds left in the second quarter. Kaufman 17, Wildcats 0. We'll take a break, back in a moment. And second down and 4 for the Wildcats at the 31-yard line. DeCorian Young back in the shotgun in the final 10 seconds here, and he will run Caden Davis to the left, and he will move forward a yard or two, and then he's gang tackled by Kaufman. And there's 2-1, and there is the end of the first half. Hallelujah. The miserable first half is finally over. And I'm telling you, a Halloweenish first half full of ghosts, goblins, and just everything that could go wrong did go wrong for the Wildcats. And Butch will have the statistical information, and I have a feeling it's not going to tell a story that we didn't see in front of our own eyeballs here. Going to be pretty bleak and dreary, I'm afraid. But we are at the half, and Kaufman leading the Wildcats 17-0. You have to play two halves, though, and we hope the Wildcats come out with some vigor and some purpose on senior night in the second half. Jimmy?
It is the Galleon Insurance, Silver Springs Floral, Century 21, hometown, and discount wheel and tire first halftime. And we're going to take a break. We'll be back with Butch Burney right after this. And welcome back. It is halftime here at Prim Stadium. 17 for Kaufman, 0 for the Wildcats. And Butch Burney with me now to commiserate over the first half of play for the Wildcats. I tell you, Butch, this was not what we expected out of the Wildcats here this evening, but Kaufman certainly has come to play, and they are determined, especially since they really need a win desperately to keep their playoff hopes high.
Right, and they're playing like it right now, and Silver Springs kind of continuing the way they played against Green, at least the first half against Greenville, and And as Don said before we went to break, the stats are going to tell you exactly what our eyes have seen and what they've heard on the radio, and that's not a very well-played game offensively by the Wildcats. So right now the Wildcats only have 43 yards rushing on 17 carries. The leading rusher has been Colton Allen. He's got 62 yards on 7 carries. We only have 3 other players who have positive yardage. Caden Davis has 8 yards on 3 carries. Chalk Sims has 8 yards on 2 carries. And Austin Dodd has 11 yards on 2 carries. Then we have 3 other players that have negative yardage, mostly due to bad snaps.
Right.
And those go down as rushing yardage. So you end up with only 43 yards rushing. And then passing-wise, the Wildcats haven't been any better. Overall, they are 3 of 9 passing for 24 yards. The leading receiver has been Austin Dodd's got 1 catch for 9 yards. Landry Tyson has 1 catch for 8 yards. Jermon Brian Amos has 1 catch for 7 yards. So when you add it all up, the Wildcats have 67 yards of total offense in the first half. So just a bleak offensive showing by the Wildcats. They have 5 first downs, and then when you look at what they've done on third down, they're only 1 of 5 on third downs. And then Jimmy, I think the 4th down has just been a disaster for the Wildcats. When you look at their drive chart, what they've done on 4th down is they went for it on 4th down on the first drive and didn't make it. They tried a field goal on 4th down in the second drive, and it was no good. Then they had a bad snap, and they lost 13 yards trying to punt the 3rd time. Then the 4th time, they had a bad snap, and somehow Jermon Brian Amos was able to get a 1-yard punt off. It was a miracle he didn't get tackled in the end zone for a safety. Really. Just a great job by him. So 3rd downs, Wildcats are 1 for 5, but 4th downs have been a disaster for them. Now, when you look at Kaufman, their main person in their offensive attack has been Trey Collier. He's got 99 yards rushing on 13 carries. He scored 1 of their touchdowns. And overall, Kaufman has 134 yards rushing on 27 carries. So that's a good, sustainable running attack. Nothing spectacular, other than Collier's 40-yard run that he scored his touchdown on was a superb run. But that's been about the extent of their big plays. Passing-wise, they've only completed 1 pass. That's for 29 yards, but the ball was fumbled at the goal line, and the Wildcats recovered. So that 1 pass didn't hurt the Wildcats. But when you add that up, Kaufman has 163 yards of total offense compared to the Wildcats' 67. It's almost 100 yards more, and really when you look at it, more than double offense of what the Wildcats have. Kaufman has 7 first downs. They haven't been great on 3rd down. They picked up on their first drive, they picked up 3rd downs on 2 consecutive attempts, but since then they've been 1 of 5 on 3rd down. So the Wildcat defense, I think, has played about as well as you could expect them to play, but 3 times in the first half, Kaufman got the ball inside the 35-yard line of the Wildcats. So trying to keep them from scoring on that, it's almost impossible.
Well, it is, and especially with the way they've done their quarterback with the young men that ran for all but 35 yards of their rushing offense, then the big guy that they bring in. I mean, you look at that, and that makes it a little difficult to defend against. Yeah,
they've got a good. They've got a big offensive line, and they use it to run behind. They've only attempted 2 passes, so they're not out there trying to throw the ball a lot. They know what they do, and that is we're going to run the ball. We've got an exceptional athletic quarterback, and then whenever we want to go big, we've got a big bruiser who can come in and try to get yardage fullback style, and it's working for them. But then the Wildcat defense, other than that first drive, the Wildcat defense has played exceptional. To give up to have the other team get the ball inside your 35 3 times and only give up 10 points is really a good showing.
It really is. You're exactly right. And we look at this game tonight. The Wildcats have just come out really blank in everything. I mean, just very cold. Last week, Coach was worried about, they had Friday off, and so therefore he was concerned about being in the groove and ready to play and everything. But last week they were far more in the groove than they've been here tonight.
Yeah, I don't really. Last week I think we kind of talked about a little bit of a trap game, having played Corsicana the week before, then going on the road to play Greenville, and Greenville, was playing for their playoff hopes and all that. And so, Silver Springs came out a little flat, I think. Tonight, I don't know what is happening. They've had some terrible issues with snaps, and that really can get a team totally out of their rhythm. I mean, we've had, like I said, we had the bad snaps on fourth down, but then we had a 23-yard loss on a bad snap. We had a 10-yard loss. We've had a couple of times the ball's been on the ground, and the Wildcats picked it up and got virtually back to the line of scrimmage, but that's a wasted down.
Yeah.
And so those bad snaps or mishandling of snaps or whatever's going on have just been a killer so far.
Now, you think we're miserable. Let me throw you a curve.
Okay.
In Ennis, Corsicana and Ennis, it is halftime. Ennis 21, Corsicana 7.
I was looking at that matchup before, and I thought, that's a historically historical rival matchup, and so those are the ones that the underdog can sometimes win because they get up for that game. And Ennis is kind of like we talked about Kaufman. Ennis is in that same boat where they're at 3 district wins, and they've got people right there with them, and some others breathing down their neck. And I think a lot of people had already marked them off as a loss tonight. And Corsicana may end up winning that game, but I'm not really surprised that Ennis is leading at halftime. I'm a little bit surprised it's a 2-touchdown lead. Of course, Corsicana may come back, but that's just those historical rival games like that.
Yeah.
That's the way they go sometimes.
Well, let's look at some other scores. Forney 28, Greenville 7. They're still in the second quarter in that game, probably close to the half there. And then Royce City tonight. Royce City leads North Forney 16-14, so that's a close game.
Yeah, and that's an interesting game because Royce City has got the 3 wins. Forney and North Forney are both, they really have to win and hope somebody else loses and some scenarios happen. But Royce City's, with their win last week over Ennis, they kind of have an advantage over these last 2 games when you look at the records and the head-to-head matchups and all that goes into tiebreakers. So that's a big game because if Royce City ends up losing that game, then they lose some of that advantage they had. Yeah.
Getting back to our game here tonight, as we are here at halftime, our score 17 for Kaufman, 0 for the Wildcats. And Butch, it's going to take quite the effort here in this second half by the Wildcats.
Yeah, because it's something we kind of touched on last week when we were talking about Greenville, but in the first half, Silver Springs had 5 possessions, not counting that last possession, which they got the ball with, 2 plays left in the half. So you have 5 possessions in a half, and if that happens in the second half, that means they've got to score on 3 of those possessions to at least tie the game. So, maybe 3 to go ahead, but at least 3 just to tie. So you don't have a whole lot of, when you put yourself in the hole like this, you don't have much margin for error going forward in the second half.
Yeah, and the way Kaufman is able to control the ball, run the ball offensively, they're going to control a lot of the time in this half.
Yeah, and I think Silver Springs has to win the field position. They lost the field position battle horribly in the first half. They've got to win the field position battle in the second half. Keep Kaufman off the field. Make them do three and out or 4 plays and punt or 5, something like that, because Silver Springs isn't going to have time, I think, Jimmy, as you just talked about, to go 80 yards 4 times in the game. That I don't think they're going to have time to do that. And then you've got to do it against that Kaufman defense. So I think Silver Springs has got to win that field position battle, get the short field for themselves this half rather than giving Kaufman the short field.
Right, and a few onside kicks in the process.
Yeah,
really.
and some of that may be coming. I mean, right now, Coach Owens maybe wanting to pull out whatever he's got in the basket because you need to do something to kind of get your team fired up and focused and give them some energy.
Well, that's exactly right. And it is hard to go in at halftime when you've had a half like this. You've had a couple of your big guys that have gotten hurt. Your quarterback's limping. With all of these things that Wildcats have trusted in the games before. Now we're coming in. The center was helped off the field, offensive center helped off the field, another player, lineman, helped off the field. When you have that kind of thing, it really affects the attitude of those on the field who are playing.
Yeah, that offensive line plays as a group, and then whenever you have, you've already got one guy out, now you have a couple others hurt, you're trying to mix and match and get the best in there, then, sometimes you miss on calls and you get blocking assignments that are missed and things like that. But what you said about Decorian limping is true. I mean, he's generally been one of their main ball carriers, and tonight he's carried one time, and that was a sack.
Right.
He got sacked for a 10-yard loss. That's the only time he's even carried the ball. So he hasn't been able to be useful as a running option, and as we've seen in the past, he's been one of their main offensive weapons when it comes to running the ball.
Yeah, when you've got a quarterback like that, the other team is just kind of wondering whether he's going to run it, had somebody throw it, what he's going to do. You've got three options in there, and that really adds to the mix. Yeah.
He's what they call a dual option threat. He can run it, he can throw it, and then he can do that read option where he gives it or keeps it. And right now that read option really isn't there. I don't think we've seen him run it. If we have, he's given the ball every time. He hasn't kept it at all.
Right.
And, that just gives the defense one less thing to have to concentrate on.
Right. But we've seen them the first half. We've not played them before. All we've had is to work off of is film and so forth, and Burleson's been trained by some good coaches. I mean, he coached under Turner, Brad Turner here at Sulphur Springs.
Right.
He's coached under some others, and so, he's got some great training and has applied well to this Kaufman team. They did great in 4A football and seem to be ready for 5A football.
Yeah, they're a small 5A, but when you look at this district, Sulphur Springs is a small 5A. Greenville, Terrell, there's a lot. Half of this district is what I would say really small 5A, like 1,300 and less students.
Right.
So they can come up into this district and compete, as we've seen. They're not the cream of the crop. I think Corsicana's proven right now they're the cream of the crop. But I think when you look at that second level, you've got Sulphur Springs, you've got Kaufman. Probably at that second level, at the third level, maybe you have Ennis, Roy City, maybe another team or two. But
right.
They're right there in that second level. And for a team that came up from 4A who had really good success in 4A, they're having good success here against teams that they can compete against. They've got good athletes, and that's one of the things you look at is not necessarily how many kids you have, but what kind of athletes those kids are. We see it with Gilmer, we see it with Liberty Ilu, some of those smaller schools that always produce great athletes, and Kaufman's like that. They got a big offensive line, they've got that really exceptional athletic quarterback, and they've got some other skill position players and good defensive players. So they've got the athletes to compete, definitely.
Right, and they've certainly shown that here. As Kaufman Band is coming to the conclusion of their performance here at Prim Stadium this evening, they are leading in this football game 17-0 for the Wildcats. And Butch Burney has not had really great news for us this evening statistically. And Butch, we're going to have to try harder this next time. No, I'm kidding. But we do appreciate you sharing these with us. Go ahead. You were going to say something.
I was just going to say, I think the Wildcats found a little bit of rhythm in the running game, and I think you kind of we always talk about what we'll see in the second half, and I think we may see the Wildcats go back to that in the second half.
And they need to. They've got to go with what works for them in this game for sure.
And probably an up-tempo speed because they're going to need to get as many possessions as possible.
You're exactly right. Wildcat Band making their way to prepare to perform. It is halftime here. Again, Kaufman 17, Wildcats 0 as we take this break and come back with the Wildcat Band. Thanks to Butch Burney for being with us with the statistics. Galleon Insurance, Sulphur Springs Floral, Century 21 Hometown Realty, and Discount Wheel and Tire bring you halftime. We'll take a break. We'll be back with the band right after this.
The 57th line of the Blue Blazers as they strike up the band. Sergeants for this year are seniors Taylor Jones and Melina Rivera, juniors Sammy Allen, Monica Mejia, and Olivia Walker. Seniors for this year are Lieutenant Allie Thurman, Lieutenant Maddie Thurman, Senior Lieutenant Kayla Arneson, Lieutenant Allie Owens, Co-Captain Michaela Rogers, and the Captain Jada Smitherman. Tonight, the Blazers would like to recognize our very special Blazers of the Week. Our seniors, Jada Smitherman, Michaela Rogers, Kayla Arneson, Taylor Jones, Melina Rivera, Unexi Cervantes, Maddie Clark, Joanna Duran, Jackie Espinoza, Abby Peckham, and Cassidy Winburn. Thank you for your dedication to the Blazers all these years. We love you. We would like to give one last shout out to our halftime partners, the Wildcat Marching Band. We are proud to share halftime with you every Friday night. Congratulations on another successful season. Tonight, the Blazers proudly present to you their senior night routine. They are once again joined by the spirit groups of Sulphur Springs High School in this traditional celebration of senior night. Sulphur Springs High School Blue Blazers. The Blue Blazers under the direction of the awesome Christy McCullough and Kenny McGraw.
Ladies and gentlemen, here they come. Man, oh man, that Wildcat band. The band is being led onto the field by senior drum majors Braden Fisher and Peyton Ball. Tonight, the band is excited to welcome our 8th grade band members to the sideline. We can't wait to get you involved next year. And now, the Wildcat Band is excited to present its 2000 UIL contest show titled The Grid. Ladies and gentlemen, the Sulphur Springs High School Wildcat Band.
Digital frontier. I kept dreaming of a world I thought I'd never see. And then, one day, I got in.
like to recognize a special group of musicians. Seniors, come on down. These students have spent 7 years with the Wildcat Band along the wall, providing awesome example and leadership. They have been part of numerous first division sweepstakes and other championship moments throughout this time. The Wildcat Band would not be here without what they have done with their hard work and achievement. Seniors, take a bow and be recognized. And now the band is excited to present this year's 2018 Wildcat Band Bow and Band Sweetheart. The 2018 Band Bow is Travis Punt. And the 2018 Band Sweetheart is Miss Peyton Ball. Congratulations to you both. And now, on with the show.
We are at Prim Stadium this evening for this game between the Sulphur Springs Wildcats and the Kaufman Lions, and it has been not exactly the kind of night that Sulphur Springs fans were anticipating, but Kaufman doing a good job. They're leading 17-0 over the Wildcats. 50 degrees our temperature here as we start the second half of play. Kaufman will be kicking to the Wildcats. Royce City leads North Forney 16-14. Ennis leads Corsicana 21-7, and Forney leads Greenville 28-10. We'll keep up with some of these scores as we go through the game tonight. Don Julian doing your play-by-play. Doug Haston videoing this game for replay on Suddenlink Cable Channel 18. I'm Jim Rogers. We're glad you're with us. Don?
And ready for the third quarter kickoff, and holding Kaufman to about 170 yards. That's 340 for a game. That's not bad. Here's the kickoff to the Wildcats, taken at the 12, across the 15 to the 20. This is Caden Davis across the 30. Davis across the 40. A nice kickoff return, and I don't see any flags down at this point. And so the Wildcats first down and 10 from the 44-yard line in their own territory, but a nice kickoff return, and looked like a lot of emotion there by Caden Davis on a good run back there as a sophomore, giving back a little bit to all these seniors.
Yes.
First down, Wildcats.
DeCorian Young is in an empty backfield. Trip receivers out to the left, two to the right. First offensive play for the Wildcats here in the third quarter. Here's a pass, and it is caught by Austin Dodd, and he is drilled to the ground after the catch.
Incomplete, he
says.
Incomplete.
They even jarred it loose. And so actually that's maybe a smart play by Dodd if he thought about it to drop that ball, because it saved the Wildcats about 7 yards of lost yardage. So second down and 10 on the incompletion for the Wildcats, as Kaufman seems to be stealing signs or something. They seem to know what's coming. They're ready for everything. Corian Young from the shotgun will take the snap, and it's a running play. And here's a nice run by Colton Allen across the 50 to the 45, and Allen knocked out of bounds at the 42-yard line. First down and 10. Colton Allen is an early prospect for player of the game, as the Wildcats have not had much, but I've liked his running tonight.
Silver Springs Dodge Chrysler Jeep, first down.
So from the Kaufman 42-yard line, first down and 10 for the Wildcats. DeCorian Young from the shotgun takes the snap. Hand off again, Colton Allen, and he will move down to the 40. That's a gain of 2 on the play. It'll be second down and 8 for the Wildcats at the 40-yard line. Big drive here, first drive of the third quarter. That's why it's always on the goal sheets. It kind of sets the tone for the second half, and Wildcats down 17-0. Need something positive here. Trip receivers to left, a single receiver to the right for DeCorian Young on second down and 8. Takes a snap. He pumps and now throws a pass. Caught by Landry Tyson. First down and 10 for the Wildcats at the 29-yard line.
Silver Springs Dodge Chrysler Jeep, first down, as Tyson brings that one in.
And Tyson's had a good night tonight. We'll keep him on the board for a possible. Anybody could be player of the night, the way that first half went. DeCorian Young waiting for the snap, takes the snap, and he'll hand off a running play, and not much there that time. Is stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Second down and 10 for the Wildcats, just inside the 30-yard line. We'll call it to 29, second down and 10. Just getting underway in the third quarter, and Kaufman up 17-0. One of the more miserable Wildcat games I've seen, and oh man, goes back a long time. I can't remember one this bad. And here's second down and 10. Back to DeCorian Young. Fires the ball down the field. Caught Landry Tyson. He's headed to the end zone, and touchdown Wildcats. Just what the doctor ordered.
And Northeast Texas Farmers Co-op says, way to go Wildcats, as Landry Tyson catches that one, takes it into the end zone with ease. And I think player of the game will be the one that scores the 3 touchdowns to give us the lead before it's all over.
Well, Landry's got one of them. That was a beautiful cut to make his way into the end zone, as Brandon Zavala gets ready for the extra point with his new holder there, Noe Ponce. And the ball is down, the kick on the way. Nice job by holder and kicker, and the kick is good. 10:05 left in the third quarter, and man, I can smell a comeback. It's Kaufman 17, the Wildcats 7, and let's take a break right here at the 10:05 mark in the third quarter, and we'll be back in a moment.
10:05 left to go in the third quarter. Wildcats on the board now. It's Kaufman 10, Wildcats 7, as the Cats come roaring back here in this beginning of the third quarter.
Man, I'll tell you, as a football player, I'd feel better about myself after that less than 2-minute touchdown drive.
No kidding.
It was 56 yards for the Wildcats after that good kick return by Caden Davis. And the last 30, a pass from DeCorian Young to Landry Tyson, who tacked on a nice run to the end of that. And here's the kickoff for the Wildcats. They'll kick deep, and Kaufman letting it bounce and roll down around the 5-yard line. Now they pick it up down there, and the player is knocked down around the 10-yard line. That's another good thing that happened. The Wildcats bottle that up, and Kaufman is now deep in their own territory, back around the 11 or 12-yard line. We'll call it to 12.
31.
So Kaufman kind of lackadaisical on the return team there. Sometimes you'll watch a return team and they just kind of watch the ball kind of bounce around a little bit, and that can get you in deep trouble. First down and 10 now for Kaufman. And their quarterback, Trey Collier, will take the snap, and he's rolling to the left, and he slips and falls at the 10-yard line, and the Wildcats had that very well defensed. I'm telling you, you got to watch out for that Alex Guerra. He can really make some adjustments to what the defense is doing. Give him halftime, give him that 30 minutes, and he may have performed some miracles there. He really had that quarterback bottled up on that play. So second down and 12 now, and Kaufman back at their own 10. And again, Collier, the quarterback, will take the snap, and he hands off a running back sweeping to the right, and hit by the Wildcats right around the 11-yard line. Nice, strong defense. Don't be too exuberant in the tackle there, Wildcats. You don't want to get some kind of goofy penalty now from being too fired up. Boy, they've made a couple of really nice plays. This is the Wildcats' bus obviously got lost in the first half, but they arrived at halftime. This looks like a completely different team. Third down and 12 now for Kaufman back at their own 10.
Is that new school zone between here and the high school?
I guess so. And now Trey Collier back in the shotgun, takes the snap, and he will keep, and trying to get around the left side on the run. And Wildcats trying to string it out. He got a few yards, gained about 7. Almost hit out of bounds, but the officials let that go. And Kaufman will have to give it away on the punt as they face fourth down and about 5. And a good defensive stand by the Wildcats.
Excellent stand for the Cats. Good start with the offense, and then the defense coming in with this stand.
Well, you know, I told Coach Guerrero I thought he would be really impressed that over the years defense has kind of fed off the offense. I thought he would be pleased with that. And he said, we're going to have to work on that. Our guys need to be fired up no matter what the offense is doing. So he always surprises me. There's a lousy kick by Kaufman. And oh boy, did Austin Dodd come up and threaten to pick it up. And there was a huge Kaufman player daring him to pick that ball up. And Dodd deferred. But a very short Kaufman kick. And the Wildcats will take over just outside the 35-yard line.
That was
actually the 39.
That was so low, it was good it didn't go off the Wildcat.
Man, I'm telling you, that thing never followed a flight plan. DeCorian Young from the shotgun, 2 receivers left and right, will take the snap, and here's a running play right up the middle, and Caden Davis on the run down to the 36-yard line. And that's a 3-yard gain for Caden Davis. It'll be second down and 7 for the Wildcats at the Kaufman 36-yard line. This is another big drive. This would put the Wildcats right back in the middle of this football game. Corian Young from the shotgun takes a snap. That was a little low. Fires the ball down the field, and now we have a whistle blowing things dead. That's not good for the offense usually.
Here's the call.
Illegal procedure.
Illegal procedure on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Like that Tony drawl better than mine. So Tony Flippin with the call. I will defer to him always. But it'll cost the Wildcats 5 yards, and the down remains second, and then it'll be second and 12 back at the 41-yard line. 7:57 to play here in the third quarter. Wildcats trail by 10 points, 17-7. Maybe they got Kaufman all complacent, feeling real good about themselves. Here's a handoff on the running play right up the middle. Caden Davis running hard and getting back to the 36-yard line. I think he got the penalty yards back. So it's going to be third down, and looks like about 7 needed at the 36-yard line. So a big play for the Wildcats if they want to try to keep this drive going here. It's third down and 7 from the 35-yard line. And DeCorian Young, he's got a lot of time to snap the ball, taking a lot of time. Now talks to all the offensive linemen. Back in the shotgun now. And DeCorian takes a snap, and now a draw play, and player fighting through down to about the 35-yard line. And it's going to be fourth down now, and about 6 needed for the Wildcats at the 35-yard line. And let's see what the coaching staff decides to do here. Excuse me, Jimmy.
6 minutes, 50 seconds to go here in the third quarter.
Actually, they moved the ball back to the 36, so it'll be 4th down and 7. Wildcats are going for it here. And they have trip receivers out to the right and 2 receivers to the left for DeCorian Young. Back there in the empty backfield. And he's getting a big rush. And he fires the ball incomplete. And it looked like an interception, but then dropped, which was a smart play because they gained more yards by dropping that than making the diving interception. Incomplete pass. Wildcats go over on downs. That'll set back the momentum a little bit. But Kaufman now takes over at their own 36-yard line. The Wildcats bogged down and still trail 17-7 with 6:26 left here in the third quarter. Here comes the Kaufman Lions. Apparently playing tonight without either one of their twins that really make their offense go, the Gaspers. And now it's back to Collier, and he hands off. This is Miller sweeping to the right, and Miller will pick up the first down as he's past the 45 and on up to the 49-yard line. First down and 10 for the Kaufman Lions. And nice running play there, again using that tight end around. Miller, not your prototypical tight end. He's a big, tall guy. Looks like a wide receiver. And once again, Collier from the quarterback position, hands off, running play right up the middle. A hard run. There's a big collision at the end of that, all the way down to the 46-yard line. Gain of 5 on the play. Bailey again on the carry. And third down and 5 yards needed. Both these teams appear to be really decimated by the injury bug in a lot of key areas. And the situation getting worse, too, with some other players falling out in this ball game. So second down and 5 now from the 46-yard line. Collier from the shotgun. Another fake, and now the ball down the picked up by the Wildcats on a fumble and racing to the end zone. He should score for the Wildcats. And that is DQ Pitts, I believe, for a touchdown for the Wildcats.
It is DQ Pitts. You're exactly right. Northeast Texas Farmers Co-op says, way to go Wildcats, as DQ Pitts takes that one into the end zone.
When's the last time we had a defensive player as a player of the game? DQ with a steal on a fumble, and then picks up a fumble and rumbles for a touchdown for the Wildcats. It's 17-13. And all of a sudden, Halloween visiting the Lions of Kaufman. Extra point pending here. A big fella rumbling in there a little bit late with injuries, maybe not knowing his assignment there. And here's Noe Ponce again on the hold for Zavala. The ball is down, the kick on the way. It's a nice looking extra point. The kick is good. Great third quarter so far. 5:16 left here in the third quarter. New score here from Gerald Prim Stadium. It's the Kaufman Lions 17, the Wildcats of Sulphur Springs 14. And let's take a break here, and we'll be back in a moment.
5:16 to go here in the third quarter. 17-14 our score. Wildcats trailing Kaufman, but Wildcats certainly showing a good third quarter here.
And the clock got that point put up there. Kind of a look up there like, oh, that's right. Well, it's like the officials out there on the field. You want to get it right, you know, by talking it over, whatever you have to do. And Brandon Zavala with a kickoff for the Wildcats, who have scored a couple of touchdowns here in less than the first 7 minutes here in the third quarter. And here's a pooch kick to the sideline. It's muffed, but then fallen on at the 32-yard line. I'm telling you, Kaufman, the weirdness has moved to their side of the field all of a sudden. That was a very alert player, Glick, there, that fell on that football after he muffed it. So first down and 10 for Kaufman at their own 32-yard line, and they looked a little spooked on offense now. That'll happen when you cough the ball up and have the other team pick it up, and a player of DQ Pitt's speed, you're not going to catch him.
Yeah, it's not a matter of what side momentum's on, it's a mess up is on.
Yeah, those turnovers, that killed Kaufman last week against Royce City, according to their coach, Burleson, and here's a handoff and dancing into the secondary for Kaufman. The Wildcats trying to tackle the ball. They finally gang up on him at about the 46, 47 yard line. First down and 10 for the Lions, up to their own 47 after a nice running play there for Kaufman Lions.
Bailey.
Damian Bailey, who was listed as an H-back, but they've had such a raft of injuries in their backfield that they're running Bailey a lot tonight. Of course, Collier's been the main threat. And now a player goes in motion, and one of the Wildcats got a little bit antsy there. Let's see if that's the call. Here from Tony Flippin. Offside Wildcats preliminary signal.
It didn't work that time.
Actually, offside, no, the referee was marking in the wrong direction. One of the Wildcats. Actually, I think the guy that was offside was hoping that he would get away with that. But off against the Wildcats. First down and 5 for Kaufman. Now they're on the Wildcats' 47-yard line. And Collier from the shotgun. And here's a snap, and they'll try a run right up the middle. Nice hard tackle by Bryce McQueen. Boy, some players really getting with it and tangling with each other, and words being spoken. Be careful, fellas. Don't want to pick up a cheap 15. Up to the 44-yard line, it'll be second down and 3 now. Actually, let's call it 2. Second down and 2 for the Lions.
Bryce McQueen getting first. Second down, 2.
And here come the Lions. And they've got, this is the one where that quarterback ran. Let's see if they do that again. And yes, that's exactly what they're going to do. And he cuts it up in there. Wildcats again defensing that much better. They get the first down, but not a huge gain that time, about a 3-yard gain, but they only needed 2. So first down and 10 for the Kaufman Lions now at the Wildcats' 41-yard line. Wildcats defense putting on a really good effort tonight, considering that Kaufman had the ball, as Butch talked about, 3 times inside the 35-yard line in that first half. You keep giving an explosive offense like Kaufman that kind of opportunity, eventually they're going to accept. Trip receivers out to, one ran all the way off the field. They've still got 2 receivers over there to the right, and they'll try a running play. And fake, and the quarterback keeps, and he's running down the field inside the 30, first down and 10 at the Wildcat 29-yard line.
Once again, Trey
Collier being helped up, but he's okay.
Tackled by Cameron Crawford.
Cameron Crawford on the tackle.
First down, Lions.
3 minutes, 25 seconds left to go in the third quarter. 17-14, our score, Kaufman leading.
And they're on the drive right now here in the third quarters. They're doing a pretty good job of kind of keep away here, as they've kind of righted their ship here after the Wildcats hit them with a couple of touchdowns. They've got that big pulling in now. He's out as a wide receiver. My gosh. Here's a snap back to the quarterback. Handoff, Bailey running up the middle, and he will get down to about the 26-yard line. Gain of 3 on the play. Let's call it the 25, gain of 4. And it'll be second down and 6 from the 25-yard line.
And Michael Andrews. He's about 4 on the play.
And looking to the sideline, Kaufman, and obviously not in a hurry-up mode right now, as they're willing to kind of bleed that clock a little bit. Their lead has been chopped to 17-14, but they're on the move right now. This looks like a serious drive. So second down and 7 from the 25-yard line, and they will fake the run. And here's a pass, and it is caught at the 20-yard line. Now the receiver running around over there, and he will gain the first down and go out of bounds. That was caught by Charleston Miller. And Miller's caught 2 or 3 touchdowns this year. He's been a very effective target for Elliott for some reason, but it's Collier. Collier. Again, a Tulsa commit, and they envision him as a wide receiver. I guess they're going to recruit him as an athlete, and he is certainly that. First down and 10 now, and they will hand off Miller, sweeping around the right side. Miller bursting toward the end zone. He's knocked out of bounds inside the 5-yard line. down around the 4. First down and goal for the Kaufman Lions. They've already had one fumble right at the lip of the cup tonight, as they caught a pass and were down around the 1 or 2 yard line, and the ball was fumbled into the end zone, recovered by Colin Wade. So we could order another one of those to see how that works. Probably not at all. First down and goal now for the Lions. The Wildcats 4 yard line. They lead 17-14. 2-minute mark here in the third quarter. And here's Big Pullen again. And he's blocking, he's knocking off players, and then they knocked him off his feet finally with a couple of good shots down around the 2 yard line. So this kind of the jumbo package reminds me of the Belldozer that used to be at Oklahoma, a guy named Bell, and they called him the Belldozer. And he would take that ball and just rumble, and the ground would shake as he moved into the end zone. And they've got Big Pullen back there now. They're 250-pound linebacker, and he's moving toward the goal line. And let's see. Touchdown for Kaufman as another short touchdown run by Billy Pullen, who's a full-grown man.
Good size guy.
Yeah, they don't list weights, but I think the Wildcats, the stuff that they gave us had him listed at about 250. And he looks every pound of it. Extra point now for Sandoval. And the kick is blocked. Sandoval picks it up, and he better get out on the ground. That's the way a kicker can really get hurt. But the Wildcats had mercy on him and let him go. But the kick blocked, so that could turn out to be a big point in this ball game. 1:23 left after the blocked extra point here in the third quarter. It's Kaufman 23, the Wildcats 14. We'll take a break here, and we'll be back in a moment.
1 minute, 23 seconds left to go here in the third quarter. Kaufman back on the board again, 23-14. Wildcats trailing Kaufman, but the Wildcats getting the ball back, and that blocked extra point was a good move.
Damian Dugan got that, thanks to Butch Burney, his sharp eyeballs. Best in this press box, I believe. Butch always nails those players. Always has the answers when we ask our questions. And Sandoval getting ready for Yahil. Sandoval ready to put his foot into it. The Wildcats anticipating a short kick. He has not been booming them tonight. He has been kicking them short. And Sandoval approaches, puts the foot in, and kicks it down around the 15-yard line. Here comes the counter punch. And right at the 20-yard line. Now breaking through to the 25, across the 30. Nice run by Damian Dugan. And he wasn't real pleased. He kind of kicked the ground after he got tackled across the 30 at around the 32-yard line. He saw bigger things there. Thought he saw a seam that he might be able to squeeze through. But first down and 10 for the Wildcats at their own 32-yard line. 1:14 left in the third quarter. Wildcats trailing by 9, 23-14. Corian Young back in there from the shotgun, having a long conversation with his running back there. He puts him to the left, and they will try a running play. This is Chalk Sims, and Sims across the 35. Sims across the 40 to the 45. First down and 10 for the Wildcats. Chalk Sims, like the runaway mine train at Six Flags, moving it all the way up there to the 48-yard line. First down and 10 for the Wildcats.
Silver Springs Dodge Chrysler Jeep, first down.
Just like it. I mean, didn't it look like it?
Looked like it.
I mean to tell you, you've seen that thing. That's what Chalk looked like that time. First down and 10 for the Wildcats at the 48-yard line. And to Corian Young, back in the shotgun, takes the snap. He's looking down the field. Oh, he's getting the rush, and he dumps the pass off. That may draw the yellow flag. Boy, the Kaufman coach is livid, and there's Tony Flippin's flag. He was not outside the tackle box. Yeah. And unfortunately, there was nobody out in that flat. Now, DeCorian is gesturing towards somebody, but here's a grounding call against the Wildcats. And man alive, we have seen that stop drives before. The only good thing is that happened on first down, so it is first and considerable. like about 22.
Yeah,
second down and 22. That's right, it's a loss of down. Now that is one of the cruelest penalties there is. Not only the loss of yardage, but the loss of down. That's football really penalizes that for dumping that football. Dorian Young from the shotgun. Oh, it went right through his legs. He's going to have to go back and fall on it. And they are, oh man, can they survive a grounding call and a bad snap in the same series? Once again, the evil snaps have returned, and the Wildcats back on their own 21-yard line, and they need the 43 in Kaufman. That is 36 yards. The school board says 37. I'll take his word for it.
And with this distance in, Kaufman may be right.
So here's third down and forever, and they will run right up the middle. And we'll gain a few yards, but that is woefully short. Of course, Kaufman was back in another county waiting for a deep pass. Their chances of doing that not very good, so kind of a loser's. There's just no good call for third and 37.
And we got quarter here.
That is the end of the third quarter. Started good, but then kind of fizzled out altogether about halfway in there. But we've played 3 here from Gerald Prim Stadium. It's Kaufman 23 and the Wildcats 14. Let's take a break, and we'll be back. Start of the fourth quarter right after this.
We begin the fourth quarter with Kaufman leading 23 to the Wildcats 14, and Wildcats started strong, but the quarter ended a little weak.
Yeah, a couple of, well, you know, like I say, we've seen intentional groundings grind drives to a halt, and we've seen them ground to a halt by a bad snap. That one had both of them. Here's the punt by Jamon Bryant Amos, and he really hammers it out of there, and it takes a really nice bounce. Of course, he had to punt the heck out of it to get past the first down marker, which was like 47 yards down the field, seemed like, but a whale of a punt by Jamon Bryant Amos all the way to the 30-yard line. Looks like we may have a flag, Jimmy, or did I dream that?
I don't see one.
I think they were, no, what they were picking up is was probably something to mark the yard marker or something.
There was a little bit of, I don't know, some kind of equipment that was on the field too. They may have been taking that off the field.
So first down and 10 for the Kaufman Lions. They lead 23-14. We're just underway here in the fourth quarter, 11:51 remaining. Kaufman has the ball at their own 31-yard line, or 30-yard line. Collier, the quarterback, will start with a running back right up the middle, hitting up in there again. LaDamian Bailey will blast forward for 5 yards. He's done a good job of running very physically right up the middle of the field. Coach Owens very effusive in his praise for this offensive line for Kaufman. He says they seem to be great technicians. That means that they do things the way you're supposed to do them. And they may not really blow you away with their looks, but they're great technicians. One of the best offensive lines in the district, he thinks. Here's another running play, hitting up in there. This one, not so much, maybe a couple of yards. And they're going to mark it at the 37-yard line. It's going to be 3rd and 3 for Kaufman.
Ball carrier picks up a yard or 2 on the play, stopped by Edwards along with several.
So here's a big third down play for the Wildcats defense. It's 3rd and 3. They really need this. They're down by 9 here in the early part of the fourth quarter. But you don't want Kaufman just to hang on to that ball and then maybe get down there and add more points. Collier back in the shotgun. Sends a receiver, and he's going to take it around the left side and run for the first down. He's knocked out of bounds, but and a flag flies on probably a tackle out of bounds over there.
Yeah, that's going to tack on some more yards.
Yeah, that's a big penalty. That'll be a 15-yard penalty, and that's, you know, I don't know. We had a nice comeback brewing at 17-14, but that Halloweenish momentum, Big Mo, who's had a Halloween costume on all night long, looks a lot like Freddy Krueger. And he is back on the Wildcats' backs right now in a 15-yard penalty. tackling out of bounds all the way to the 41-yard line. So that, that gives a boost to this Kaufman drive. And looks like, once again, Collier from the shotgun from the Wildcats 41. And they will hand off to big Pullen again. And this time, boy, they got into his legs and really contained him that time. He couldn't get any momentum going. And that will probably lose some yardage. Nice defense by the Wildcats there. And that's a loss of 2 on the play. It's going to be 2nd down and 12 from the 43-yard line. Nice defense by the Wildcats that time. See if they can do that a couple more times here. They need to. And again, Collier from the shotgun. 2 receivers out to the left. Will take the snap. And he fakes and now fires it downfield. One-on-one on the coverage. Incomplete. And no flag flies down there. Pretty good pass defense by the Wildcats. And that's we'll give credit where credit is due. Payson Edwards back there on the defense doing a good job against the wide receiver of Kaufman.
I think we've got a flag down here.
There's a flag.
Okay.
This will be
Tony
against.
Flippin picked it up, but
they're going to mark off.
Here we go. Holding. Holding. Kaufman. Thank you, Tony. That's a big penalty, so 2nd down now, and Kaufman needs about 22 yards for the 1st down.
9:44 to go here in the game. 23 for Kaufman's, 14 for the Wildcats.
And here come the Lions. And that ball at the 47-yard line. See if the Wildcats can get a pick here as Collier goes back to pass. He's got time now. He fires it down the field. He threw it tall. Oh, a Wildcat came in, tried to make a diving catch, but that was Damian Dugan, but could not get to it. But incomplete, so it'll be 3rd down now and 22. We talked about how hard it is for the Wildcats to come up with a play on this. It's not any easier on that Burleson sideline over there with JB as a head coach.
And it still leads Corsicana 28-7, Forney 35, Greenville 16, and Roy City 30, North Forney 20.
Wow, and we get North Forney next week. We'll be over there in that stadium in Forney. 3rd down and long now for Kaufman. Collier back in the shotgun. Will take the snap, and he's going to hand off, and they're going to sweep to the right. This is Miller, and he's tied up by some Wildcats and knocked out of bounds for about a 4-yard gain. Andy Edens with a good play, and also Chase Haney on defense. A good job by those guys to keep that to about 4 yards, and Kaufman will be looking at a punt here on 4th down and a bunch. Looks like about 20. 4th down and about 20. 39, well, let's see, 49 to 49 to the 30.
I don't think
about 17, 18 yards for 1st down. Jimmy doesn't think they're
yeah, now punt. They are. Yeah, they are now.
Oh, see, Collier punts too, and so, boy, when you have a quarterback that can punt, watch out. And the Wildcats do have a man deep back there, and it goes back to Collier, and he will get it away and kick it high and deep. Fair catch call for by Dodd, and he takes it back there inside the 10-yard line, looks like.
Yes.
Right at the 10. So 1st down and 10 for the Wildcats, but the defense does hold, and that's significant, even though the Wildcats have some fairly questionable field position here. 8:32 left in the 4th quarter. The Wildcats down by 9, and if they're going to have a fantastic finish, they need to kind of pick up the pace here. Nice long touchdown would help. And to Corian Young back in the shotgun. We'll take the snap. And here's a handoff, a sweep to the right for the Wildcats. And now moving up the field, and looks like it's going to be lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage. In fact, that ball may be down in let's see, yeah, they move it up to about the 8, so it's going to be a loss and a couple. And now they're calling in, asking for some trainer help on one of the players down for the Wildcats. Injured player here. Let's take a timeout. 8:15 left here in the fourth quarter. Wildcats trail 23-14. Injury timeout, back in a moment.
8:15 left to go in our game. 23 for Kaufman, 14 for the Wildcats, and Jamon Amos, the man injured, but now he's kind of running it off.
Yeah. He ran out of that. They were assisting him off the field, and he just ran from one end of the sideline to the other. He ginger ankle there as he's trying to walk that off. Second down and 12 for the Wildcats back at the 8-yard line. DeCorian Young from the shotgun takes a snap. He's back to pass. He fires the ball incomplete. Tried to find a receiver on the far sideline, so it's going to be 3rd down and 12. Tried to get it out to Colton Allen out of the backfield. 3rd and 12 for the Wildcats. Oh, man, you don't want to come a cropper with 3 and out when you're down there at your own 8-yard line.
Kaufman defense doing a good job of covering Wildcat receivers.
And once again, DeCorian Young from the shotgun on this 3rd and 12. He's back at the goal line. He fires the ball down the field, has a receiver wide open, and he could go a long way across the 50, across the 40, and all the way. That's Bryce McQueen, and Bryce McQueen scores a 92-yard touchdown pass from DeCorian Young, and he was wide open, Jimmy.
He was very wide open. Northeast Texas Farmers Co-op says, way to go, Wildcats. And not only was he wide open when he caught it, he poured on some steam, got a nice block at about the 25 and went on in.
Oh boy, just what the doctor ordered again. Extra point pending for the Wildcats, and they're down by only 3 points. And once again, Brandon Zavala with Noe Ponce doing the holding here. Waiting for that snap. It's a little high. He got it down. Zavala with a kick. Looks good, and the kick is good. 7:52. Anybody's ball game now. 7:52 left in the fourth quarter. It's Kaufman 23, the Wildcats 21. Let's take a break here, and we'll be back in a moment. It's like
7:52.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, I was just going to say 7:52 left to go here in our game. Wildcats coming back. It's 23 for Kaufman, 21 for the Wildcats. I'm sorry, Doc. Go ahead.
You know, it's like the film, you know, and this fiendish person has a grip on your neck, choking you, and all of a sudden the hero comes alive.
Really?
And DeCorian Young finds a wide open Bryce McQueen, and he streaked from one end of the field to the other. 92 yards, and the Wildcats are down by 2 points with 7:52 still to play in this football game. Wow, what a play for the Wildcats. And I'd say game on at this point. Here's a kickoff for the Wildcats. They'll kick it short, and it's going to be, it's bobbled, and then Kaufman just got on it after the bobble there. A good play of falling on that football by Rakavian Shaw, and it's at the 31-yard line. Boy, Kaufman has teased us with several muffed kickoffs, but they very smartly got on top of them right before the Wildcats cavalry would arrive.
I think Shaw thought he was going to pick up about 3 yards before he ever caught the ball, and that messed him up.
Yeah, I wonder he didn't just fair catch the thing. That's what they usually do on that short kick. But Kaufman, 1st down and 10 from their own 31. And once again, incumbent on this Wildcat defense to slam the door right now, as Collier and company still very dangerous. Trip receivers out to the left. And it's back to the quarterback. Collier running, trying to pick up some blocks, dashing into the secondary, and gets down to the 35-yard line. That's a gain of only 4 on the play. So it'll be 2nd down and 6 for Kaufman at their own 35-yard line. Looked like a better gain than that. Actually, they're going to give him an extra yard, so that's a 5-yard gain. So it'll be 2nd down and 5 and for Collier. But it looked like it was going to be much more than that.
Yeah. Good work by the Wildcat defense.
And he really did a good job of kind of waiting for his blocks to get on players to try to move up the field. So 2nd down and 5, back to Collier. Now he'll keep to the right side this time. Wildcats waiting for him, and they're going to tackle him a yard or 2 short. It's going to be 2 yards short of the 1st down, 39-yard line. So a big 3rd down play now for Kaufman. 3rd down and 2 from the 39-yard line. Looks like a battle between a couple of walking woundeds here tonight. And just trying to be the last person standing here inside the cage. 3rd down and 2 from the 39-yard line. Big play for the Wildcats defense. Fans getting into it. And here is Collier. And looked like some early movement. The running back hitting him there, and he hits a stone wall. There's no flag for encroachment, and the Wildcats stop the ball carrier. It's going to be 4th and 1 from the 40-yard line.
Wow, great work by that defense to make that stop.
Absolutely. And so let's see, boy, Kaufman, you know they've got to be reluctant to give up the football, but you don't make it on 4th and 1, and you give the Wildcats a delicious field position. You just can't be offside or anything, and you watch the fake. Boy, Kaufman might fake here. The Wildcats have a that's Austin Dodd back deep, but he hadn't gotten right real deep. But I don't think this punter, Collier, has not really been knocking the socks off that ball, knocking the stuffing out of it. It's back to Collier, and he's going to throw a pass, and it's caught. A great catch. They dropped the ball. The Wildcats recovered. After the catch, the Kaufman receiver was tackled, and he dropped the ball, and look, DQ pitch. 2 fumble and a flag flies.
Yeah, because he ran away with the ball.
And Coach Owens kind of, with a lot of heat on it, threw that ball back out into the field. And it cost the Wildcats some field position, probably 15 yards for it'll be a delay of game penalty. But the Wildcats did recover on a great executed fake punt. And a great catch by a Kaufman receiver who really went up. I didn't think he could catch that ball. It was caught by Colton Reeder.
And we've got 5:28 left to go in the game. 23 for Kaufman, 21 for the Wildcats. And Wildcat fans not real pleased at this moment.
Well, you've got to, what does the poem say? You've got to keep your head when all lose it around you. 1st down and 10 for the Wildcats at the 25-yard line. DeCorian Young. Heck, they could go 92 again, but wait a minute. We've got a
illegal
flag.
Procedure.
Yeah, they had trouble on that play, so it'll be 1st down and 15 back at their own 20-yard line. They may wind up having to go another 92. They don't move in the right direction here. So 1st down and 15, the ball back at the 20-yard line for the Wildcats. Bryce McQueen in there. I don't know, but you got Landry, Tyson, and Dodd, some real playmakers out there.
Yeah.
Other players. DeCorian Young from the shotgun. Back there to take the snap on 1st and 15, and it's going to be a running play to the right. Oh, almost broke clean. There was they almost over pursued, and nice run. That was Caden Davis. Davis picked up almost the penalty yardage. It's going to be 2nd down and 13 for the Wildcats as they're up at the 23-yard line. And again, DeCorian Young takes the snap. He's back to pass. He's getting rushed. He fires a long pass, a looping pass. It was intercepted, but out of bounds. Kaufman intercepted the football. In fact, that looks like their quarterback out there. Like he's got Collier playing defense.
Yeah, he does.
I saw Denison when they were back, when they were winning state championships on a goal line stand against Waco Richfield. They brought their quarterback in, and he caught the ball at the goal line and went 100 yards. So sometime putting those studs in the ball game, but that time an interception, but out of bounds. 3rd down and 12 for the Wildcats, and there's just 4:49 left in the game. We're getting a critical time here. Corian Young back in the shotgun will take the snap. He's looking, and now he will fire a pass. Oh, dropped by the Wildcats. Boy, that one looked like a hot potato, hard to hold, and dropped by the Wildcats. He tried to get it into Caden Davis, who had a terrible time trying to find the handle on that football. And the Wildcats will have to punt. I don't know if he would have been able to get 10 yards anyway on that, but you certainly don't know when it's dropped. So Jermon Bryant Amos, we mentioned he went out a while ago. He's back in there now to punt. Kind of got the feeling he might when he raced off the field and ran from one end of the Wildcats bench to the other. Back to Jermon Bryant Amos. And he kicks it high and not real deep. It's going to hit right around the 50-yard line. And covered by the Wildcats there by Dietrich Clayton. Real good special teams player, always hanging around the football waiting for something to happen. So first down and 10 for Kaufman, and they probably, the way they look at it, first a couple of first downs and let's get out of here, as they've got the ball at the 48-yard line. Looks like both teams have all their complement of timeouts, 3 apiece. And again, 4:34 left. Write me a few notes here. And here comes Kaufman, and they'll quickly go into their offenses. They've got only 10 seconds to snap the ball. Collier back in the shotgun on first down from the 48-yard line. They'll try Miller on the sweep to the left. Wildcats stringing it out, and they catch him and knock him back. A loss on the play. How much is the question? Looks like maybe not a whole lot. They're giving him a lot of forward procedure, but will be at least a loss of, well, let's say
a yard.
1 yard. Yeah, that's right. So second down and 11 for, I almost said Corsicana. I tell you what, Coach Owens, he was trying to describe whether they were the most explosive team in the district, and he kept comparing them to Corsicana, as you obviously would, because until tonight, Corsicana has been kind of the gold standard of the district, but they're playing a rival tonight in Ennis's, whooping up on them at last report. Second down and 11 now for Collier. Takes the snap, and he will hand off, running back running left. Now Wildcats doing a pretty good job, but oh man, Ennis really surged there and got an extra 3 or 4 yards across the 50 to about the 48-yard line. I think the Wildcats have taken their first time out here. And let's take it with them. 3:33 left here in the fourth quarter. Kaufman 23, Wildcats 21. And we'll be back in a moment. Okay, here comes Kaufman. And quarterback back to pass all day to throw. Sails it down the field. Good catch in the secondary and setting sail. And then the receiver is tackled down around the 26-yard line. A big, big play for Kaufman. And a real nice catch that time by number 21 for Kaufman.
And Andy Edens making a nice tackle to save that from being a touchdown.
I could dig through every roster I've got to try to find if we could find a 21. But that appered to be the number
Powell.
that I saw.
Powell.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Courier Powell.
And he is not on the roster inside the program, handy-dandy program tonight. First down and 10 for Kaufman now at the 27-yard line. Wildcats need the football. 2:48 and counting on the clock. And here's a running play. And into the secondary. Oh, he steps out of a tackle, and he's headed to the end zone, folks. Touchdown for Kaufman. That is a killer. That is a killer right there. A 27-yard touchdown run.
That was Smith running that one into the end zone. Javion Smith for Kaufman.
And extra point pending at 29-21. And again, Sandoval with the extra point. Snap is good. The kick on the way. Wildcats block one of these, but not this one. This kick is good. And Kaufman with a 9-point lead. And somewhere, if you listen very carefully, you can hear the strains of Don Meredith singing "Turn Out the Lights, the Party's Over."
Yes.
They say that all good things must end. Let's take a break. 2:36 left here in the fourth quarter. Kaufman leads the Wildcats 30-21. Back in a moment.
2:36 to go in our ball game tonight. It is Kaufman 30, Wildcats 21 as Kaufman sends the ball to the Cats.
If this ends up with a Kaufman victory, these two teams would be tied. Kaufman will be at home next week playing a really good Forney team. and they can put some points on you. Here's Kaufman's kickoff. It's short and high. A fair catch called for and made. Nice catch there by the Wildcats. And once again, Chase Haney from the 37-yard line. You Wildcats down by 9 now, 30-21 with 2:36 all that's left to play. We're almost in miracle territory here.
You mentioned Forney able to score. They've scored 42 against Greenville tonight. Greenville 24.
I'll tell you what, their quarterback can throw the football. That Shane Stevens has done nothing but soar and rise in rushing among Metroplex teams. And so they can put it on you, as we found out. We just had to outscore them here. Corian Young back in the shotgun. He's looking. He's got time now. He scrambles out of the pocket, sails it down the field to Landry Tyson, and he steps out of bounds, stopping the clock at the 46-yard line. That's going to be 2 yards short of the first down. It'll be 2nd down and 2 for the Wildcats at their own 46. The clock stops at 2:29. But a 9-point deficit. And so you got to think about scoring quickly, and then the onside kick with the other team fully expecting it. That's the toughest kind. A lot of times the beauty of the onside kick is the element of surprise. That will not be the case tonight. Corian Young back in the shotgun. We got to get there first, though. We got a lot to do. And he sails the ball down the field. Caught Bryce McQueen again, wide open. And Bryce McQueen catches the ball and is tackled at the 31-yard line in Kaufman territory. They will stop the clock to move the chains, and now they finally roll that clock at 2:18. Corian Young on 1st down and 10 from the 31-yard line takes the snap. He will sail the ball toward the sideline. Oh, he kind of floated it out there toward Landry Tyson, and he's lucky that Kaufman player did not Miller did not really set sail and intercept that pass. It was kind of floated, had a lot of air under it. But incomplete pass is all it is. Miller just got a mid on it and knocked it down from Tyson. So 2nd down and 10 for the Wildcats at the 31-yard line. Again, DeCorian looks like he's playing on kind of a sore leg, and that can rob your strength on the strength of a pass. And we may have seen it on that one. And DeCorian again, 2nd down and 10 from the 31. Takes a snap, back in the shotgun, fires it down the field. It's caught. 1st down for the Wildcats. Nice catch for the Wildcats, as that was Connor Bergen.
Silver Springs Dodge Chrysler Jeep 1st down.
Bergen made a good catch in traffic and then kind of pulled that ball into the body and let that defender drag him to the ground without maintaining possession. 1st and 10 now from the 20-yard line. A running play right up the middle. Colton Allen. Allen to the 10, to the 5, and Allen to the 3-yard line. 1st down and 10 for the Wildcats. That again will stop the clock, and it won't take long to set the chains because they don't have to go anywhere. It's 1st and goal. Tony Flippin is already winding the clock at 1:41 and counting. Wildcats 1st and goal from the 3.
Silver Springs Dodge Chrysler Jeep 1st down,
and another timeout taken. I think that's the 2nd for the Wildcats. They'll be down to just 1 timeout. So 1:34 left here in the 4th quarter. Kaufman 30, the Wildcats 21. Let's take a break, and we'll be back in a moment.
Go for it.
And here come the Wildcats, 1st down and goal from the 3-yard line. DeCorian Young back in the shotgun. I think they need to score right now. DeCorian takes a snap, running play. And, the ball's down on the ground, recovered by Kaufman. Ball game is just about over now. And by the way, that timeout, Jimmy caught it, was actually a Kaufman timeout, which would have been good news for the Wildcats, but their chance to win the ball game just went up in smoke at the 11-yard line, apparently.
With 1:30 left to go, it surely seems that way. There may be a chance here if the Wildcats can get a fumble right back into their hands, but that's not likely.
Yeah, it's going to take some weirdness.
Well, we've had enough of that.
We've had a lot of weirdness. I would say a Joe Pisarcik moment, but the last time I used that reference, Coach Owens was all over me. He said nobody remembers Joe Pisarcik for the New York Football Giants fumbling the ball against Philadelphia in the dying minutes of a football game when all they really do is they had to kill the clock. And Kaufman will now have a running play, and the Wildcats really tackling the ball and doing a good job of stopping that receiver or that running back. And a gain of about 1, and the Wildcats will quickly take timeout at 1:23. That's their second timeout. That one that Jimmy caught a while ago was a Kaufman timeout, means they have 2 timeouts left. The Wildcats just used one to stop the clock to where they have just 1 left.
Yeah,
We'll take it. 1:23 left in the fourth quarter. Kaufman 30, Wildcats 21. Back in a moment.
With 1:23 left here at Prim Stadium, it's Kaufman 30, Wildcats 21. Kaufman has the ball. Royce City has defeated North Forney 37-20. That played at Royce City tonight. Ennis has defeated Corsicana 28-7. Forney leads Greenville 42-32, and our score here. Here we go.
And Kaufman on 2nd down and 9 from the 13-yard line, and Collier's going to keep around the right side. And good play, boy, no quit in Austin Dodd as he came up and slung the quarterback to the ground at the 16-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and 5 now for Kaufman, and another timeout. That's the last timeout for the Wildcats. 1:16 left here in the fourth quarter. Again, Kaufman 30, Wildcats 21. We'll take a break with them, and we'll be back in a moment.
1 minute, 16 seconds left here in our game. 30 for Kaufman, 21 for the Wildcats.
And the Lions come up there on 3rd down and 5. 1:16 left, and you can bet the Lions will keep that thing on the ground, you would think. Again, Collier, yes, he's going to roll to the left and try to pick it up. He's trying to get around the corner. He does. 1st down, Kaufman, and he gets more down the sideline. And stepped out of bounds somewhere there at the, well, we'll find out exactly where, and they're going to, the official marking the spot went to get the football and went about 5 yards from the mark spot, the spot mark, and they're going to put it at the 35-yard line, 1st down and 10, and that will really send everybody to the exits if they're not there already. Well, a few folks down there. Pretty good. The crowd does.
Still pretty good crowd.
Yeah, sticking to it pretty well tonight. And here come the Lions. They'll probably just take the knee now. Yeah, everybody's favorite play when you're ahead, take the knee. And that's what Collier does. And maybe do that one more time, and they can go back to Kaufman with a victory tonight over the Wildcats, 30-21. Well, this evening, Coach Owens, he just took that hat off and was rubbing his head. It was just like, holy cow, what a night. And it has been a miserable one for the Wildcats. There's not going to be a happy person anywhere in that locker room. Some great efforts. I really, liked Bryce McQueen tonight. I thought he had a fantastic football game. There's a lot of hard play. That Wildcats defense hold Kaufman to 30 points with the kind of field position they were getting tonight. And this one still has another 10 seconds to roll off, but the handshake line is already in progress. And Coach G has had a talk with a couple of his outside linebackers and slapped their helmets at the end of it. I'm sure he had a message of some sort for them. A lot of times what happens we consider that kind of the locker room, that stays in the locker room sometimes. And you don't have any idea, what kind of message he was sending to those players. I don't want to presume to know, but kind of interesting to watch. Coach G, an interesting coach. He's done a great job with his Wildcats defense this year, almost never satisfied. And but he's I think he's like a classroom teacher that's very difficult.
Yeah.
And a lot of times those are the most popular teachers that you see when kids can bring their favorite teacher. A lot of them will bring that hardest teacher in the class. And he says the only time he would ever, to figure they played the perfect game is if they shut somebody out. And he admits in the high-scoring football of today, that's nigh impossible.
Right.
But he certainly recognizes players getting better, and And he said he's very proud of them and proud of the things they've done. And all in all, not too bad of a night. That last touchdown by Kaufman would be one that where the player scored after stepping out of a tackle. But this one ends here, and the Wildcats just do not get it done on the senior night. They will fall to on a night where the district's top 2 teams fell. And Kaufman and the Wildcats are now tied for second place with a 5-2 record. The Wildcats will have to hope that they can beat North Forney, who now is playing for nothing next week with a 2-5 district record. And actually, Kaufman will be playing a Forney team that is going to be more than likely out of the money. I guess Forney could make a case that somehow they could win and go to 4-4. And maybe if something happens with Ennis and Royce City. Ennis is at Greenville, so they would be favored to win that. Royce City's at Terrell. They would probably be favored to win that. So Forney may not have too much to play for to try to help the Wildcats out. And if they don't help them out, more than likely, win or lose next week in Forney, we may end up as the number 3 seed in the district. And I don't know. I sense maybe a rematch in by-district with Lovejoy if that happens. But that other district still has some issues to sort through. And they still, just like us, coming into tonight, 2 football games for most of those teams to play. So a lot can happen. Kaufman wins this one by the score of 30-21. And a better game in the second half, but it's a bitter pill tonight.
And Royce City defeats North Forney 37-20, and Ennis defeats Corsicana 28-7. Forney is leading Greenville 49-32 in that game nearing the end. We would remind everyone, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, Coach's Show on Channel 18 and KSST simulcast. On the Coach's Show, of course, Coach Greg Owens and Don will be talking about tonight's game and looking to next week and the game then. A lot of great things coming up. Wildcat basketball getting underway with a trip to Wichita Falls for the Elite 14 scrimmage, and a number of teams there that are top teams in the state and in Oklahoma that will be playing in that scrimmage. So we're looking forward to a good report from that. Wildcats have one running cross country at the state meet this tomorrow. So a lot of great sports coming up for all of us. Stay with us here on KSST to follow the Wildcats and the Lady Cats. For Don Julian, who's done play-by-play, Doug Haston, who has videotaped this game for replay on Channel 18 Sudden Link and also on our YouTube channel, and for Butch Burney, who has taken our statistics tonight. We'll be putting together our story for KSSTradio.com. I'm Jim Rogers. Thank you, James Terry, for your good work back at the station. And to all of you, we say good night.